Sup, my fellas. Don't forget to leave feedback, and enjoy the story. Two figures steps into the arena's spotlight as the crowd erupts with excitement. Young man faces a much larger, threatening opponent inside a fenced area. A muscular challenger celebrates, as the crowd cheers. The triumphant fighter stands in the spotlight, acknowledging the roaring crowd. Inside the MMA ring, two fighters face off as the referee signals the match's start. The two opponents prepare to begin the first round of their confrontation. The crowd cheers and calls for fight. A furious man charges at the younger opponent inside the cage. An agile fighter narrowly evades a powerful punch from his larger opponent inside the MMA cage. A sudden, blinding strike slams the face. Youngmin lands a decisive aerial kick on his larger opponent in the fighting ring. Youngmin braces himself in a fighting stance, ready to launch his next attack. A fighter instantly knocks out his opponent in the ring, leaving the crowd in shock. The announcer declares a knockout victory as the composed fighter stands in the ring. One person forcefully grabs another's wrist, heightening the tension between them. The referee raises the victor's arm as the crowd announces the winner. A reporter steps forward and asks for a comment on the recent victory, as cameras flash. Standing shirtless in the arena, the victorious fighter declares his triumph to the crowd as the interviewer holds out the microphone. Youngmin confidently announces his retirement to the audience. A peaceful apartment complex is shown, establishing the setting. A live news broadcast breaks the shocking story that the reigning champion has suddenly retired. A soda can and an open snack bag lie abandoned on the floor. The protagonist lounges on the floor before the TV, absent-mindedly rummaging through snacks. Youngmin eats a pill and comments that martial arts aren't as popular as they used to be. One character rolls around on the floor in boredom while another silently watches. A hand shoots forward urgently, reaching out in a desperate attempt. Lena kicks Youngmin hard, sending him flying across the room. Youngmin, shocked and pinned to the ground by a foot, demands to know why he was hit. A frustrated sister urges her brother to go outside and make friends as he sits passively. Venting frustration, the boy laments not knowing where to find friends while the girl listens in the brightly lit room. She dismissively suggests finding a gym after criticizing his focus on sports and isolation. He calmly announces his retirement, saying he will stop working out and focus on resting. One character angrily confronts another about retiring at 24 while he tries to calm her down. Youngmin hints at a secret reason with a sly, confident expression. One character boasts about having no challengers left while another reacts awkwardly to the claim. Lena reassures the other person despite her concern. The character settles onto the sofa and decides to rest, enjoying a rare moment of relaxation. One character urgently warns another that taking a break will quickly lead to weight gain, especially after retirement. One character smugly boasts about his appearance while another looks on in disbelief. One character lounges on the couch, refusing to take action while another watches anxiously. A girl sitting on a couch recommends trying video games to a surprised boy while holding a game controller. Three heroes leap into action, weapons drawn, ready for the final battle. The host thanks the guests for their response and prepares to ask the next question as the interview continues on stage. A confident man discusses the growing interest in skilled martial artists and players with excellent control joining the game Final Saga. A character asks if recently retired Master Quan Youngmin might appear in Final Saga, prompting curiosity and anticipation. A person smirks in anticipation, preparing to make their next move. A character doubts that Master Quan Youngmin can win in Final Saga. Youngmin questions the unseen person about the importance of control, noting many athletes have achieved recognition as rankers. The narrator emphasizes that mastering the game requires more than control, highlighting strategy, leveling, and items over direct comparisons. A green-haired man challenges his opponent to prove he can win under equal conditions. He confidently asserts dominance in the game, convinced of victory regardless of opponent's level. Youngmin glares with clear irritation at someone approaching. Youngmin reacts angrily to the challenge, refusing to back down. One character proposes trying something new, prompting another to respond with surprise. One character enthusiastically tackles another to the floor, bragging about gaming achievements and causing surprise. A skeptical character questions whether being a ranker is truly impressive as others react dramatically around him. The character reviews online debates comparing the abilities of rankers and questions whether top-tier skills are effective both in the game and in real life. Sinister figures with glowing red eyes gather menacingly in the shadows. The scene shifts to a calm city intersection where several figures wait to cross the street. Two people walk through a busy city street, staring in disbelief at something extraordinary. A surprised boy notices a girl walking by on a crowded city street. Youngmin moves quietly through the busy street, blending into the crowd. Bystanders recognize the calm figure as the world's strongest man and react with awe. A girl waves cheerfully at a bashful boy on the city street. He basks in the attention, visibly pleased by his growing popularity. A group of people gathers outside the corporate building marked Final Saga, preparing to enter. Several uniformed people approach the information desk, where two receptionists greet them with smiles. A staff member behind the counter directs someone's attention to a specific location. A crowd of staff is stunned as Youngmin's identity is revealed in the lobby. A woman approaches a man in a professional setting and timidly asks how she can help him. A curious student suddenly asks how to play Final Saga, catching the other by surprise. A surprised student reacts as another eagerly asks to join the group's game. One character enthusiastically declares loyalty while placing a hand on the other's shoulder, but the second looks away, unimpressed. One character encourages the other to step forward as the body scan process begins at the security checkpoint. A closed office door blocks the way, marked clearly as off-limits to unauthorized personnel. A high-tech scanning machine powers on as Youngmin stands still inside, preparing to have his strength, agility, and stamina measured. A woman behind the glass finishes counting down and announces the test results as the man reacts in surprise. A woman clutches her collar in shock as she demands to know what is happening. Youngmin stares in disbelief at his status screen, realizing all his stats are maxed out. Youngmin stands bare-chested and winks confidently after impressing those around him. A towering city building displays a prominent digital billboard announcing the broadcast of Final Saga. A computer screen shows a grid of trophies and awards, some marked in red, as achievements are reviewed. Two office workers stare in shock as chaos erupts among their coworkers. A surprised participant notices numerous trophies and excitedly points out that the famous master is joining their game. An anxious employee asks the team leader how to handle a professional player's unusual game activity. Lena challenges the other person's objection, asking if there's a problem. Two characters stare at the screen in disbelief as they realize the total points exceed 500. A shocked character looks up, reacting in disbelief to an unexpected event. Someone off-panel yawns as a quiet, modern living room signals the start of a new day. He wakes up on the couch, stretches, and yawns after a long nap. Youngmin searches the room, puzzled by the other person's sudden absence. He notices a door slightly ajar in the empty hallway. Youngmin freezes in the doorway, startled by something unexpected in the room. He studies the futuristic machine, carefully deciding where to begin his next test. He inspects the exclusive suit, noting that it feels comfortable. He sits inside the high-tech pod, ready to activate the switch and put on the VR helmet. A character secures a high-tech visor, preparing to activate the headset. The protagonist is suddenly shocked by something unexpected. The protagonist is violently yanked into another space, screaming in terror. Youngmin stares in confusion at a mysterious digital interface that suddenly appears before him. A character activates high-tech goggles, preparing for action as tension builds. A sudden flash of light startles the character, leaving him wide-eyed in shock. A terrified figure is suddenly pulled upward by mysterious light beams. Youngmin stares in shock as a glowing, translucent interface filled with strange symbols appears before him. The system initiates a body scan to create a new character, setting strength, agility, and stamina to maximum values as requested. Overwhelmed by a flood of information, the character frantically tries to manage countless tasks on the glowing tablet. A digital prompt appears, instructing the user to select a character name. Youngmin thinks for a moment, and decides to name the character Rian. A hand hovers over the digital interface, poised to choose between yes and no. A futuristic double suddenly appears before the startled protagonist. A glowing digital interface prompts the start of a tutorial. He firmly accepts the challenge, gripping the glowing tablet as data streams across its screen. A system message appears, initiating the tutorial sequence. A character is jolted by a sudden realization, eyes wide with shock. A devastating energy blast crashes downward with overwhelming force. A figure launches themselves from the rocky ground, scattering debris in their wake. Office workers stare in astonishment at the glowing computer monitors, reacting to something extraordinary on the screens. She silently processes the tense situation, her worried eyes reflecting mounting anxiety. A hand unleashes a surge of glowing energy, illuminating the scene with flashes of light. A masked character unleashes a powerful slashing attack, surging forward with intense energy. Youngmin charges ahead, brushing off the challenge as insignificant. Youngmin leaps down from the tree, launching a surprise attack on his opponent. A determined fighter launches a punch at the armored enemy who taunts him. He smashes through the barrier with a powerful punch, sending debris flying. Two startled figures look up as someone suddenly appears above them. A group eagerly discusses whether the record-breaking tutorial clear is legitimate, or just a system bug. A young man, astonished, questions how someone managed to clear all 10 tutorial stages perfectly, doubting if such a feat is even humanly possible. She explains that the data is based on samples of the master's movements, making it theoretically possible. Someone in the office stares in disbelief, struggling to accept what they are witnessing. A fierce fighter launches a flying kick at a massive, armored monster as it growls. A monstrous creature lifts its weapon and charges forward with a deafening roar. Youngmin smirks confidently, radiating self-assurance. A surprised armored creature is struck by a powerful overhead attack. A determined fighter unleashes a powerful high kick at his armored opponent. A sharp weapon lands a powerful blow to the enemy's face, sending blood and energy flying. Youngmin leaps through the air and delivers a powerful blow to the large green monster. The character forcefully pins down the defeated creature with his foot. Youngmin stands over the defeated creature, calmly assessing his victory. Youngmin, exhausted and frustrated, wonders how much longer he must keep fighting training monsters. Youngmin knocks his armored opponent back with a decisive punch. A young man drives a powerful kick into the bear's stomach, catching it off guard. Youngmin strikes the slime-like enemy with a powerful blow, sending it flying. A hidden skill is unlocked as a system notification appears before the protagonist. A detailed description of the ultimate strike skill appears on the game interface, revealing its powerful attack effects. Youngmin eagerly studies the digital tablet as he discovers another valuable skill. The protagonist grows bored and questions if the game has ultimately failed. Someone reacts with shock outside a coffee shop after hearing unexpected news. Lena reacts with amazement upon hearing that the master may have started playing Final Saga because of the person she is talking to. A startled girl tries to quiet the confrontation in the busy cafe as another person observes nearby. One woman explains that someone has registered as a user and could be playing right now. Lena expresses surprise and curiosity about the sudden return to gaming after retirement. A girl sits at the table and reassures someone that he is capable of handling anything. One woman notices the other's troubled expression and asks what is wrong. She comments that, to her knowledge, he has never truly tried his best. She looks up and asks for clarification. Youngmin stands in the ring as the referee raises his arm to declare him the winner. Someone reflects on overwhelming power that the world cannot contain, while one person studies a glowing tablet and another lounges on the sofa. Lena receives startling news on her phone, her face filled with shock and worry. A hand raises a digital newspaper featuring an article about Final Saga, dominating the martial arts world. The possibility of another world, known as a game, is introduced. A massive, glowing object plummets toward the ground as Young Min braces for impact. Two identical figures stand face to face as a new stage called Doppelganger begins. Two opponents stand ready to face each other in the cracked arena. Young Min stands with a confident smirk, radiating power, as he proudly showcases his abilities. A massive high-tech barrier slams down from above as a startled figure stands ready. Two identical figures stand face to face, each preparing to confront the other as the stage begins. Two young men in futuristic suits face each other on a damaged, grid-lined arena, preparing for a confrontation. Young Min confidently displays his newfound power, energy pulsing around him. A character launches a powerful kick, sending shockwaves through the air. With a surge of determination, Young Min lunges forward and launches a powerful attack. A sudden ice attack forces the protagonist to dodge as another character reacts in shock. Young Min turns his head sharply, displaying a confident grin. Young Min launches a powerful kick that sends his opponent flying backward. The panel censors a violent moment by displaying a cracked egg with its contents spilled. Young Min stands over his opponent, smirking confidently as the other person sweats and recoils in fear. He nervously watches as the unsettling aftermath of his actions unfolds, with one figure kneeling amid glowing energy. A status screen announces the perfect completion of the final combat mission, awarding first place and significant ability increases. A digital interface presents a crucial decision between the martial god body and nature's body. The protagonist examines two glowing blue panels, puzzled by the unfamiliar terms displayed. He realizes he made a mistake by not checking the basic information before logging in. A sudden glowing system message appears, startling the viewer. Glowing information panels reveal two advanced martial bone options, each offering extraordinary enhancements to those who have reached the peak of martial arts. A fierce kick is blocked by a glowing, reinforced arm as the martial god body's power is explained. A fighter channels energy to activate a skill that boosts combat power. He pauses before the holographic screen, weighing his options. The protagonist confidently selects an item, signaling a decisive choice. A glowing scroll lands forcefully on the wooden surface. Having mastered martial arts, the protagonist confidently announces his decision to seek a new challenge. A system interface activates the nature's body transformation, initiating martial bone modification. Young Min recoils in shock and pain as something unexpected happens. Energy erupts around the agonized figure as he lets out a furious scream. A system message announces the end of the tutorial. Someone reacts with disbelief outside a coffee shop on the city street. One woman asks the other if she intends to help her as a high-level player. Lena explains that no one can help until the tutorial is over. Lena insists that Young Min remember Velrose while he struggles to pay attention. One character raises her hand and challenges the other's ability to fight monsters as a beginner, expressing skepticism about his chances even as the master. She hesitates, suspecting there is more to the situation than it appears. A fist smashes through the red barrier with explosive force. A determined fighter launches a powerful kick at a snarling wolf-like beast in the forest. Two red-eyed wolves leap forward to attack in the forest clearing. Young Min charges at the snarling, glowing-eyed fox, initiating a fierce confrontation in the forest. A swift kick sends the attacking red wolf hurtling backward. A wolf lunges at Young Min, who braces himself for the attack. The protagonist delivers a powerful punch to the red wolf monster as it lunges forward. A startled fox flees across the barren ground. The protagonist stands over the defeated fox-like creatures, unimpressed by the challenge. He stands outside, silently assessing the situation with a focused expression. Hunters surge forward, hurting the fox-like creatures as they scramble to capture them. One character furiously charges at a swarm of monsters while another watches in stunned disbelief. He stands on the rocky ground and activates the status window. A character examines a glowing status screen displaying their race, job, attributes, and current condition. He notices that all his stats have an unusual plus 45 boost and questions why this is happening. A character discovers a floating digital display labeled Martial Bone, Nature's Body, and wonders if it explains recent changes. Young Min questions whether the game's unfair balance means it is destined to fail. Young Min smiles with a hopeful expression as he reacts to the situation. Standing at the cliff's edge, he suggests moving toward the forest below. Young Min swiftly descends the rocky mountain slope, navigating the terrain with determination. The armored character nervously points toward an unseen threat, while another stands behind, looking uneasy. The group stumbles upon a perilous zone marked by steep cliffs and thick foliage. He moves steadily through the rocky canyon, his footsteps echoing in the empty landscape. Young Min quickly turns his head, startled by something unexpected happening nearby. A monster's glowing red eye appears from the darkness near the bushes. Two massive wolf beasts snarl as they close in on the defiant figure blocking their path. Three blue wolves with glowing red eyes appear from the bushes, blocking the path. Young Min notices his level has suddenly jumped from 10 to 26, but quickly decides to focus on the fight. A group of snarling blue wolves blocks the character's path as he stands ready among the broken rocks. Young Min stands confidently as two monstrous wolf-like creatures prepare to attack. A pack of blue wolf-like monsters suddenly ambushes Young Min. A monstrous hand crashes down, smashing the ground with overwhelming force. He quickly turns in shock as something unexpected happens behind him. A monstrous, shadowy beast confronts the startled figure in the forest. A massive grizzly bear, identified as the Wild Forest King at level 35, charges forward with a furious roar. Young Min glares forward, questioning if the situation is real. A monstrous beast with glowing red eyes charges forward, launching a frenzied attack with its fangs bared. Startled, Youngmin recoils as a large, clawed threat suddenly appears before him. A powerful blow lands as the blade strikes the creature's massive arm. A violent explosion blasts the protagonist backwards, sending debris flying. Youngmin stands his ground as two red glowing eyes emerge from the smoke, signaling a new threat. A monstrous, red-eyed beast slams the protagonist violently into the ground. Youngmin activates his detection ability to analyze the fast-moving beast. Spotting the monster's vulnerable point, the protagonist prepares to strike. A character enters the room with forceful steps, heightening the tension. Youngmin assumes a fighting stance, ready to confront his opponent. A massive claw slashes forcefully toward its target. Youngmin smirks and swiftly dodges as a monstrous claw crashes down toward him. A determined fighter braces for impact as a massive, red-eyed beast lunges at him with bared fangs. Youngmin desperately swings his weapon at the charging beast with glowing red eyes. Youngmin charges forward and throws a powerful, glowing punch. The protagonist charges directly at the massive beast as their battle erupts with explosive force. The protagonist charges directly at the towering beast as it growls menacingly. Youngmin launches himself through the air, fists ready to strike. A powerful punch crashes into the beast's head, emitting a burst of glowing energy. He shouts loudly, his face contorted with intensity. A furious fighter slams his bloodied fist down with explosive force. Youngmin leaps down and strikes the monstrous beast with a surprise attack. A blazing meteor crashes into the canyon, sending shockwaves through the landscape. A glowing system message appears, announcing a reward. Achievement notifications flood the screen as the protagonist is rewarded for defeating a bear alone at level 1. A passive effect activates, increasing all attack power by 5% as the character stands amid shattered rocks, visibly surprised. Red glowing shards crash to the ground, leaving the onlooker stunned and confused. An item shatters and disappears, leaving the observer confused about its sudden loss. Youngmin anxiously examines the malfunctioning object, upset that his entire investment seems wasted. A figure stands triumphantly over the glowing, defeated beast. A pair of mysterious gloves materializes in a burst of light as someone reacts in astonishment. A pair of magical gloves made from a king grizzly bear's hide is introduced, granting increased strength and attack power. The protagonist excitedly inspects a powerful mechanical glove he has just discovered. Youngmin raises his gauntlet hand and activates the glowing status window. A girl urgently calls out to the boy sitting on the couch, grabbing his attention. Lena firmly warns Youngmin not to waste any ability points and insists he save them for later. He checks for her online status while recalling her upcoming competition abroad. Youngmin considers spending some time leveling up in the forest. A rooftop billboard advertising, Final Saga, stands out above the city skyline. On the computer monitor, a character delivers a powerful kick to a monstrous creature. He stares ahead in shock, unable to believe what just happened. Lena stands silently as two people confront her in front of the screen. She bites down on a pen, her frustration clearly visible. A frustrated employee vents to coworkers about reporting a bug that was ignored. A worried employee questions whether giving the user an experience buff will disrupt the game's balance. She responds firmly, signaling her agreement in the tense exchange. A character criticizes the ultimate strike for being excessively powerful. An uneasy silence fills the room as one person hesitates under pressure, while the others watch with concern and surprise. An anxious employee demands to know the identity of an unknown user while a colleague silently observes. Two coworkers anxiously debate whether an unexplained advantage in the game is due to unauthorized user access or internal admin testing. A group speculates about the true identity of a mysterious figure, debating whether it is a person or an AI related to ongoing battles. Overwhelmed with rage, she screams at the startled onlookers, demanding answers. She vents her frustration to the group, shouting about the emergency and her inability to complete the report. A furious woman tries to break free as her teammates struggle to restrain her. Someone lets out a weary sigh as a mug of steaming liquid rests in the quiet. Two people discuss how a powerful player could affect the game's balance and attract new participants. One character assigns responsibility for a user to another, who eagerly accepts the task. Lena sits at her computer, anxiously pondering the consequences if someone obtains nature's body. The protagonist leaps down and slashes at two terrified monsters as they try to escape. Youngmin corrects the animal by stating his real name. A character reacts in shock upon realizing that the game's job balance is about to be completely disrupted. The scene shifts to a bustling medieval marketplace where people move about the square. A weary guard yawns while standing in a stone-walled corridor. The protagonist confronts a nervous armored guard blocking the path with a spear. A confident figure enters under the raised portcullis, drawing the startled attention of guards and bystanders with a glowing gauntlet. A character receives a compliment about his impressive equipment. A group of players gathers around, eyeing the newcomer with curiosity and excitement. A man blocks the other's path in the alley and demands 10 copper. Two desperate players beg a group for any spare items after suffering a recent defeat. Youngmin snaps his head around, visibly shocked by something unexpected. One man complains about the unfair advantage of pay-to-win mechanics while another listens in frustration. Youngmin distances himself from the group, frustrated by constant demands for favors. He decides to look for a job as they discuss their next steps on the busy street. Youngmin searches for the Martial Guild using a glowing device. A damaged stone tablet is revealed on display. He locates the Martial Guild and prepares to enter. He stares ahead in tense silence, processing the sudden situation. A large, intimidating man towers over the nervous boy, creating a tense confrontation. A large, muscular man confronts an unexpected arrival, demanding to know how they got there. Youngmin firmly asks for a job, confronting a startled man in the workshop. A large, enthusiastic man grabs Youngmin by the shoulders and welcomes him, making Youngmin visibly uncomfortable. Youngmin nervously tries to get the attention of the burly man in the workshop. A large man warns a nervous boy that he has entered the martial guild. The protagonist announces his intention to change his job to a martial artist. A large, excited man grabs the startled boy by the shoulders in a sudden burst of energy. A large, enthusiastic man loudly praises the value of martial arts and slaps Youngmin on the back, making him visibly uncomfortable. A muscular man slides an important document across the counter to Youngmin. A gloved hand presses onto the glowing magical sigil to begin the job change process. But something unexpected happens. A man shouts in shock as a glowing artifact beneath him suddenly releases a burst of light. He glares intensely, carefully assessing the situation. Youngmin looks up warily and asks if there is a problem. A bulky man warmly thanks a dark-haired visitor for coming. A system notification confirms that the protagonist has unlocked the apprentice martial artist path, making this basic job selection nearly irreversible. Youngmin examines the glowing digital screen, visibly confused by what he sees. A cheerful man offers a stack of skill books for free at the counter. Youngmin examines the digital interface to review his available skills. A set of combat skill cards appears, each detailing new attack abilities and power increases. Overwhelmed by sudden tension, he stares off-panel in shock, sweat beading on his face. Realizing how unwelcome martial artists are, the protagonist stands awkwardly in the quiet shop. A figure critically evaluates the basic magical skills in the book, dismissing their weak power and limited potential for regular users. One figure stands confidently while another bows and frantically apologizes after being criticized. The scene shifts to a peaceful medieval street as the characters arrive in town. A muscular man bows in gratitude as the protagonist finishes registering and walks away. A male character recoils in disbelief, sweat dripping down his shocked face. A muscular man studies someone closely, impressed by their legendary physique. He steels himself for the challenge ahead. The data transfer finishes as a digital interface flashes in the eye. The story shifts to a peaceful medieval town as the sun rises. Youngmin stands his ground as he confronts an important figure surrounded by others. The protagonist stands in the unfamiliar town, uncertain about how to begin his first quest. One character forcefully urges another to quickly memorize the material and level up, comparing the situation to an exam. He considers seeking out stronger opponents as he walks through the crowded street. Two fireballs race through the air, leaving blazing trails behind them. A powerful burst of fire slams into two orcs, sending them reeling in pain. The two heroes charge at the armed orc, ready to engage in a fierce close-quarters battle. Two defenders clash with a group of green-skinned monsters wielding clubs. He surveys the area and realizes this is the hunting ground. A group of armed adventurers faces a massive, diseased orc as its level is revealed to be 28. Youngmin quickly dodges a fast, glowing projectile that streaks past him. A monstrous figure screams in pain as a glowing attack pierces its arm. A determined archer unleashes a glowing arrow with a special technique as another watches in shock. A green-skinned figure is hit in the torso by a devastating blow, unleashing a surge of energy. He considers that claiming a monster might simply mean calling dibs on it. Someone resigns to losing out because another person claimed it first. Smirking confidently, the protagonist taunts the green-skinned attacker wielding a massive hammer. A powerful magical attack strikes the monstrous figure, engulfing it in flames and energy. A determined figure unleashes glowing magic shards at targets within the cavern. A green-skinned man is frozen in ice while two cloaked figures watch cautiously. Youngmin rushes forward, determined to secure an advantage before anyone else. A massive orc-like creature freezes in shock, gripping its club tightly in the forest. A determined fighter unleashes a powerful attack, striking down an orc enemy in the heat of battle. The victorious fighter stands over the fallen orc creature, having brought it down with a precise arrow. Youngmin spins around, startled by a furious outburst in the forest. A visibly angry character confronts another about their lack of manners while holding a bow. Lena confronts someone for stealing the last hit on the monster after she attacked it. Two characters argue over who landed the first attack. Irritated and shocked, she confronts the group about their inconsiderate behavior during the game. Lena advances cautiously with her bow while another person watches from behind. The protagonist stands in disbelief, openly frustrated by the absurd situation. He questions whether attacking a monster already engaged by someone else is considered bad manners. A warrior charges into battle with his axe as another urges him to strike and retreat quickly. Two allies launch a swift, coordinated attack to strike before their opponents can claim the target. He hesitates in the clearing, realizing he may need to change his strategy to keep hunting. He jolts in shock, anxiety evident in his wide, sweating eye. Someone suggests moving to a less crowded place. Sunlight pours over the dense forest, establishing a calm and quiet setting. A violent explosion suddenly shatters the calm, filling the area with blinding light and flying debris. Fiery projectiles rain down on the forest, causing massive explosions and chaos. Youngmin charges forward, taunting his opponent for being too slow. A shadowy figure unleashes a powerful energy attack, striking Youngmin and leaving him in agony. Youngmin slams his decorated hammer down on the red-eyed beast with full force. Youngmin steps forward and defiantly dares his opponent to attack. A monstrous beast charges forward, unleashing a fierce roar. Youngmin thrusts his arm forward, unleashing a powerful attack. Youngmin slams his attack down on the monstrous boar, unleashing a burst of red energy. He lunges forward with a powerful punch, mocking his opponent's sluggish reaction. A beastly creature with glowing red eyes recoils as it is struck by a powerful attack. Youngmin charges at the large horned beast, preparing to strike. A forceful punch slams into the character's torso, sending shockwaves through the scene. A fierce blow lands on the monstrous beast, making it cry out in pain. A character crashes to the ground, overwhelmed by exhaustion or impact. Youngmin charges forward with a burst of energy, encouraging his opponent. A monstrous beast bites down with immense force, unleashing a powerful crash. Youngmin launches a powerful roundhouse kick at the monstrous opponent. A figure is violently knocked down through the air toward the ground. A status screen reveals that the level is now 25. A digital display reveals the opponent is level 28, shocking the viewer. Youngmin notices his progress as he smiles at the glowing digital screen. He stands in the clearing, disappointed that there was only one shard to collect. A massive boulder hurtles through the air at high speed. The protagonist reacts with sudden shock to an unexpected event. A massive stone crashes to the ground as Youngmin urgently dodges the sudden attack. A foot slams into the ground, scattering debris with a powerful impact. A lone figure in red boots steps onto the rocky ledge, confronting the shadowy, horned creatures watching from below. 3 boar-headed monsters emerge in the forest, gripping their weapons as they prepare to attack. A sly, confident smirk spreads across his face as he prepares for his next move. Youngmin clenches his fists and prepares to end the fight. Someone is suddenly struck and hurled violently through the forest. The massive boar collapses to the ground, defeated and motionless. A victorious figure sits atop a defeated beast, surveying the fallen monsters scattered around the sunlit clearing. The protagonist notes his level has reached 28, and each stat has increased by 5. A status window reveals the character's updated stats, abilities, and titles. Youngmin raises a sharp object, determined to make do with what he has. A rare system ability activates, granting a 10% stat boost when fighting 10 or more enemies at once, and the protagonist reacts with excitement. Youngmin stands confidently over the defeated creature in the sunlit forest clearing. Eager to discover more, the character advances toward the lush forest beyond the canyon. Wiping sweat from his brow, he urges the group to keep climbing higher. A tranquil forest path lies empty, surrounded by mossy rocks and dense trees. Something moves stealthily through the dense, sunlit bushes. The protagonist pushes his head out of the bushes, looking frustrated but determined. Hidden in the bushes, the startled observer notices a mysterious figure in the distance. A wary observer spots a stern bandit standing with arms crossed and questions his presence in this desolate place. A figure in black and red armor crouches down, gripping a glowing stone while preparing for the upcoming challenge. A man is struck in the face by a rock and cries out in pain. A frightened man backs away, clutching his head and yelling at the unknown threat. Youngmin draws the man's attention by confidently calling out and pointing to himself. A furious man charges forward with a wooden staff, aggressively confronting an intruder. An enraged attacker swings down at Youngmin, who realizes this opponent is much stronger than the previous ones. He quickly evaluates that his opponent's long sword gives a range advantage over his own fists. He swiftly parries the enemy's attack with a forceful sword strike. A furious man swings his weapon down in a powerful attack. Youngmin scoffs at the attack, explaining such moves only work on weaklings and that swordsmen usually strike diagonally. A powerful punch sends the enemy flying and forces them to drop their sword. 2 men are hurled through the air and crash to the ground as an explosion of force erupts. A terrified man is pinned to the ground as his opponent presses a foot down to intimidate him. Youngmin smirks and taunts his opponent, claiming he is just teaching a lesson. Youngmin relentlessly overwhelms his panicked opponent, showing no mercy. One character collapses to the ground in pain while another stands over him. Youngmin stands outside, smiling with determination. The protagonist surveys the area and considers heading toward the wooden fort. A vigilant man stands guard with his sword at a construction site as a hidden figure watches from the shadows. Standing atop the wooden watchtower, the protagonist carefully surveys the camp as dusk falls. Peering from behind a large rock in the forest, the protagonist anxiously searches for an escape route. He stares intensely, gripped by the possibility that things may not go as planned. He decides they will build a watchtower themselves. Sensing imminent danger, the protagonist quickly turns to confront the threat. A powerful punch crashes into its target, sending shockwaves through the scene. 2 men panic and shout as chaotic energy surges around them. A wooden platform suddenly collapses, sending several people crashing down and alarming the armed group below. A massive wooden watchtower crashes to the ground, sending debris flying. The protagonist charges through the wreckage toward the group of armed enemies. Youngmin charges ahead with determination as embers swirl around him. One of the armed men is suddenly attacked, causing chaos among the group. A gloved hand clenches tightly as energy bursts outward. Youngmin slams his opponent to the ground with overwhelming force, radiating power from the impact. A determined attacker launches a flying kick at an armed guard outside the fortress. A forceful punch lands squarely on a character's face, knocking them back. The protagonist bursts into the guarded area, startling the masked figures who immediately react to the intrusion. A hand slams 2 fingers onto the floor beside a growing pool of liquid, showing a desperate effort to rise. Youngmin crouches down and carefully reaches his finger under the table to investigate. A confident girl mocks her exhausted brother as he struggles to complete push-ups. The protagonist, breathing heavily and pushing himself up from the floor, challenges his opponent by asking about the most effective way to fight multiple enemies. Lena enthusiastically proposes a new idea. He realizes that controlling the space is the key to success. One character instructs another to use walls or narrow paths to limit the number of enemies faced at once. Youngmin, wary but composed, questions his opponent's next move after acknowledging their argument. A massive steel door blocks the path ahead, radiating a sense of foreboding. Youngmin sprints through the doorway as a glowing blue ring drops toward him. 3 armored men tense up as an unexpected figure arrives in the dim cave room. An enemy initiates an attack by ordering their group to target the leader. A fist charged with energy slams into the barrier, attempting to break through. Youngmin drives a glowing punch into his opponent, forcing a cry of pain. With a fierce punch, The protagonist knocks an enemy to the ground as another foe collapses behind him. A furious man attacks, but the other stands his ground without flinching in the cave. A fierce fighter lands a spinning kick that sends his opponent flying across the scene. He charges forward with determination toward the cracked stone wall, ignoring the hanging chains. Cracks filled with fiery light race across the wall as the protagonist watches in alarm. Youngmin lunges through the explosion of light and seizes the glowing ring. The protagonist demands to know the identity of the mysterious, red glowing figure. He stares ahead with fierce determination. A towering armored figure corners the protagonist among the rubble, signaling the start of a confrontation. The opponent studies the protagonist carefully, measuring his strength before making a move. Youngmin confronts the other character and refuses to stand by and do nothing. He charges forward aggressively toward his opponent with a fierce shout. A character smirks menacingly, radiating intimidating confidence. A monstrous figure with glowing red eyes launches a powerful shoulder charge attack. The protagonist recoils in shock, eyes wide and sweat running down his cheek. A muscular man with white hair is violently knocked back as debris flies from a powerful blow. A massive explosion engulfs the area in light and debris. Straining with effort, the protagonist hauls himself upward on the heavy chain, letting out a manic laugh. Recognizing the danger, the character jumps from the collapsing platform toward the glowing exit to escape. A lone figure in red strides toward a group of cloaked individuals and a central person at the construction site, ready to confront them. The protagonist strides forward, undaunted by the armed enemies blocking the way. A confident, intimidating man confronts his challenger outside, taunting them for having the courage to follow him. Realizing he is overpowered, Youngmin decides to use speed to gain an advantage. A confident man challenges his opponent, recognizing they share the same martial arts style. A monster charges forward, while the protagonist analyzes its attack patterns to gain an advantage. A massive attacker swings a powerful punch, but the young man swiftly dodges at the last moment. Two opponents collide in a burst of fire and energy, each unleashing their full strength. A sudden, blinding attack strikes, leaving him reeling in pain. He lands forcefully on the ground as energy swirls around him. He breathes a sigh of relief after narrowly avoiding serious danger. An imposing man taunts his unseen opponent, mocking their failed attempt to fight him. Youngmin assesses the armored foe, realizing that a single mistake could be fatal. Fueled by excitement, the protagonist eagerly embraces the challenge ahead. A monstrous figure grins with excitement, eager for the thrill of battle. Someone forcefully declares their reason for playing the game. The protagonist clenches his fist and prepares to take action, determination clear on his face. A furious man charges forward and launches a powerful punch with a scream. Youngmin swiftly dodges a powerful attack, staying focused under pressure. Youngmin lands a decisive, shadowy blow against his larger opponent. Youngmin's eye flashes with red light as a surge of power overwhelms him. A fierce fighter crashes down from above and slams into a white-haired opponent with overwhelming force. With a burst of strength, the protagonist lands a devastating blow against his much larger opponent. A man endures a powerful, agonizing blow as red energy strikes his face. With a surge of determination, he leaps into the air and unleashes a devastating burst of energy at his opponent. A frustrated man glares ahead, annoyed by his stubborn opponent. A powerful enemy leaps down to attack as the confrontation reaches its climax. A muscular man defiantly demands a challenge as he hurls a powerful punch. He clenches his fists and pushes himself to keep going. The character unleashes their full power, radiating intense energy. Realizing the opponent's attack was a feint, the protagonist reacts in shock. A massive figure launches a devastating punch at Youngmin as energy surges around them. Youngmin unleashes a powerful shockwave attack with intense fury. Youngmin launches a high-speed, powerful attack, sending a dramatic energy slash toward his opponent. With energy crackling around him, the protagonist drives his fist forward in a furious attack. A gloved fist surges forward, unleashing a powerful punch crackling with red energy. Struggling to withstand the overwhelming force, he begins to lose his grip. He is slammed backward by the monstrous attack, unable to defend himself against the overwhelming force. Youngmin recoils in shock, startled by a sudden and unexpected event. Youngmin clutches his injured arm and struggles to stay on his feet. He realizes his left arm is paralyzed and questions the game's realism. Youngmin braces himself as he faces off against several armed opponents encircling him. Youngmin grips a bloodied object and faces the shadowy figures with fierce determination. A man brandishes his sword and warns the crowd not to interfere as another stands ready behind him. A white-haired man glares downward, preparing to confront his opponent. With fierce determination, the muscular man shouts that no one will stop him as he claims the fight as his own. Youngmin catches his breath, sweat dripping as he steadies himself after a burst of exertion. He realizes why the group chose not to attack him together as he faces his armored opponent. He forcefully declares his frustration about being interrupted during battles. The older man confronts someone, challenging them with a piercing question. A character clenches their fists, anticipation surging as they prepare for action. Youngmin charges forward with determination, confident in his decision to play the game. A furious, muscular man unleashes a powerful shockwave attack. Youngmin unleashes a powerful punch that lands with explosive force. A large, muscular man looks up in shock as a dark object hurtles toward him, catching him off guard. A massive black creature knocks Youngmin to the ground as he cries out in alarm. He shouts angrily, taunting his opponent for being too slow. With a surge of fierce energy, Youngmin slams his fist down, unleashing a powerful impact. A man's eye glows red as he unleashes a surge of energy. A muscular man endures a powerful blow to his chest, gritting his teeth in pain. The protagonist launches a fierce aerial attack, catching his opponent off guard. A furious, red-eyed man launches a powerful punch forward. Youngmin seizes the creature's arm, initiating a fierce struggle. Youngmin forcefully subdues the larger man with a desperate grapple as a sharp crack echoes. He clenches his teeth in fury, struggling against his opponent. Youngmin stands his ground as he confronts a towering opponent. Youngmin, wearing red armored gauntlets, confidently declares that they are now even. Fueled by fury, he unleashes a powerful outburst. A fierce blow sends the monstrous opponent flying backward. Youngmin seizes the hooded figure with decisive force. Youngmin's eyes widen in shock as he reacts to something unexpected. A determined fighter lands a powerful kick against his larger, bearded opponent. A male character screams in agony as pain overwhelms him. A massive creature crashes to the ground as the victorious figure stands over it. A group of men freeze in shock and fear as they react to the boss's intimidating arrival. 3 men stare ahead in shock as they witness something unbelievable. Youngmin gains a new level as blue screens appear around him. He suddenly realizes something shocking, his eye wide with intense focus. He tests his fully healed arm, surprised at the rapid recovery after leveling up. He collapses to the ground, surprised and exhilarated after the intense fight. A character notices a mysterious orange item, surprised because only common, uncommon, and magic grade items are supposed to appear in the beginner zone. The group hesitantly decides to avenge their boss as tension mounts. A gloved hand seizes the glowing blue card with urgency. Alarmed, the protagonist swiftly draws a glowing blue card. 2 armored men panic as one shouts to run while the other orders to catch their escaping target. Youngmin strides forward through the falling debris as the crowd watches. 3 enraged men confront their enemy, shouting furiously. Youngmin, blood spraying from his mouth, endures a brutal blow with furious determination. A powerful, glowing force violently blasts the group backward. 2 men look up in shock as something unexpected happens in the orange-lit sky. Standing tall among the wreckage, he forces his defeated enemies to tremble in fear. Surrounded by enemies in a battered alley, the protagonist prepares to demonstrate his strategy for fighting multiple opponents. He explains the need to control the space while someone listens closely. Youngmin explains that using walls or narrow paths can help limit the number of enemies faced at once. Someone urgently encourages others to control the space. Youngmin boldly challenges his opponent to come forward. A group of armed men charges forward, weapons raised as they rush into battle. A massive waterfall crashes down the rocky cliff, sending water surging into the swirling pool below. A lone figure stands by the riverside, carefully surveying the area. He pauses and scans the forest, sensing something close by. A hand examines the glowing item dropped by the bandit leader. A young man activates a glowing cube, causing a mystical scroll to float before him. A legendary treasure map, once guarded by the White Cloud Mountain bandit leader, is described as revealing a mysterious location no one has yet uncovered. A character steps forward and questions if legendary is a higher grade than magic, noting the location is nearby. Youngmin stands alert, tightly guarding a rectangular object against his chest. Standing at the base of the waterfall, he prepares to take on the challenge. The character arrives at the marked location and pauses, uncertain about what to do next. He stops in the forest, suddenly alert as he senses something unusual. The protagonist scans the towering cliff, wondering if the destination is hidden above. A single foot steps decisively forward on the rough ground. Pressed against the wall, he hides nervously and sweats in fear. The protagonist carefully searches behind the waterfall, hoping to find a hidden cave. A figure in red crashes down onto the rocks, scattering debris with a powerful landing. Youngmin plummets uncontrollably, his face frozen in terror. A figure crashes into the water, sending bubbles and light swirling through the chaos. Struggling to breathe, the protagonist panics underwater. A sudden blue glow bursts from the scroll-like object, catching someone off guard. A scroll is unlocked as swirling energy surges around it. A hidden trial suddenly activates, pulling the character into a glowing digital tunnel as their qualities are tested. A notification announces the successful completion of the first stage. Clutching his face, Youngmin staggers as a wave of pain overwhelms him. A disoriented figure awakens at the center of an ancient, unfamiliar structure. He examines the glowing screen that has appeared before him. A hidden trial suddenly activates, scanning ability points and testing vision as someone reacts in shock. A massive impact crashes into the scene, startling the character who quickly turns in surprise. Several menacing golems with glowing red eyes suddenly lunge out from the darkness. A group is suddenly confronted by menacing stone golems with glowing red eyes. A command interface displays an urgent order to silence the doll golems. Someone reacts with shock and disbelief. A massive creature hurtles toward the protagonist, who braces for the attack. Frustrated by unclear instructions, the protagonist questions how he is supposed to silence others without any explanation. Youngmin collapses to his knees and vomits as several armored figures chase after him. Youngmin narrowly dodges a punch from the training robot, frustrated by the non-stop attacks. Charging forward, he attacks the group of enemies directly with bursts of red energy. Youngmin swings his glowing weapon in a fierce attack at his opponent. He launches a powerful, energy-charged kick at the large target. He knocks multiple enemies into the air with a single powerful attack. Bracing himself with a glowing red gauntlet, he blocks a powerful attack. A bandaged fist slams down hard, breaking the tension with a decisive gesture. A monstrous figure with glowing red eyes strikes Youngmin with a powerful blow. A devastating blast obliterates the armored figure, sending debris and red energy flying. A powerful blast shatters the stone golem into pieces. A powerful figure surges with blue energy, ready to unleash its strength. An armored golem with glowing red eyes suddenly comes to life and prepares to attack. A frustrated fighter kicks through a group of charging training dummies. A digital status box appears as an analysis of the target's eyes begins. Realizing an important detail, he recalls that they mentioned testing his eyes. He charges ahead with intense determination. 3 menacing robots with glowing red eyes charge forward aggressively. A figure examines the torso of an opponent, zeroing in on a potential weak point. A hidden endurance trial suddenly activates after the previous stage is completed, catching the participant off guard. Red energy bursts around him as he screams in pain. Overwhelmed by sudden, excruciating pain, he clutches his head and struggles to endure it. 2 monstrous creatures suddenly lunge at him from both sides, forcing him to react instantly. He notices his mana and vitality dropping rapidly on the status screen, intensifying the danger. A blurred object hurtles toward his face, catching him off guard. The protagonist is struck hard in the face as the attackers relentlessly press their assault. He grips his head as a surge of energy erupts around him. He clenches his glowing fist, refusing to back down. He charges forward and smashes through the attacking dummies with a fierce punch. Critical percentage statistics appear on the display, signaling a rapid change in the situation. Youngmin rapidly smashes through several training dummies with intense force. A red-eyed monster lunges at Youngmin, forcing him to brace for a sudden attack. A monstrous figure lunges forward, unleashing a powerful attack. A determined fighter fiercely attacks a gigantic, menacing stitched monster radiating red energy. A sudden threat appears, and he reacts instantly, alarmed. A golem with glowing red eyes lunges forward and strikes a powerful punch at Youngmin. The countdown drops to 5% as urgency fills the scene. Youngmin is slammed in the face by a powerful hit as the attack lands. Youngmin locks eyes with the robot as they grapple in a heated struggle. A gloved hand quickly slams a glowing red button, activating the device. Youngmin delivers a fierce blow to the towering, red-eyed enemy. Youngmin launches a fierce attack that sends the monstrous enemy hurtling through the air. The digital power gauge drops to a critical 1%, signaling an urgent situation. The system confirms that the level 3 test has been successfully completed. Youngmin confidently acknowledges that his assumption is correct. Youngmin stands alone in the center of the ancient ritual circle, preparing for what comes next. A character looks up in shock, reacting to something unexpected. He realizes his pain has completely vanished and reacts with amazement. After enduring the trial of mana, Youngmin gains increased stats, elemental affinity, and boosts to both resistance and attack power. Youngmin reviews his improved stats on the glowing blue screen, feeling relieved that the pain has subsided. A massive suit of armor lies abandoned on the ground, hinting at a recent battle or disaster. He notices a glowing orb among the wreckage of broken training dummies. The protagonist examines the glowing blue orb in his hand, wondering if it is a reward item. A character activates a mysterious power as a glowing digital pattern appears on his hand. A shocked character examines a glowing orange glove, realizing it may be legendary grade. A gloved hand is suddenly engulfed in swirling, glowing energy as a surge of mysterious power manifests. Startled, he watches as mysterious energy suddenly erupts around his hand. She stands with closed eyes, channeling a massive surge of energy. Lena entrusts her legacy to someone as she stands among the ruins. An aggressive fighter lunges forward and launches a powerful kick at the startled opponent. A young man swiftly evades the spiked monster's powerful attack. Confused by the situation, the two push forward with renewed determination. He braces himself to face a powerful adversary without hesitation. One character crouches tensely while another observes him with a critical, appraising look. She encourages determination and suggests they put him down to continue their conversation. He smirks confidently, his face half hidden in shadow. A character slams his foot into the ground, unleashing a surge of crackling blue energy. As the bridge collapses, one fighter descends from above to strike, but the other counters with a powerful mid-air kick. Startled, a character reacts with shock to something unexpected. A character is blasted backward by a powerful explosion, crying out in pain. Slumped against a cracked wall and injured, young Min struggles in vain to move. A smiling, slightly roughed-up character draws another's attention to something unexpected. She praises his quick counterattack attempt with an amused smile. One character, incapacitated after a difficult test, is offered a chance to follow a powerful path by another who stands over and explains the opportunity. Young Min flinches as a hand suddenly reaches toward him from off-panel. She challenges her opponent by offering a decisive choice. A digital notification appears, offering a major quest from the martial god. Young Min stares at the glowing screen, processing shocking information. She taunts her silent opponent, demanding a response. He weighs the possibility of accepting the offer to regain his former strength and surpass other users. She hesitates, considering whether to accept the offer. She stands confidently and asks if she can become stronger than the person sitting before her. Lena mocks her opponent's confidence, boasting that no visitor can compare to her strength. Refusing the proposed tactic, one character declares they will find another way to win, startling their opponent. A furious, shadowy figure radiates a red aura after her offer is rejected and the quest is permanently abandoned. Young Min grips a red cloth and defiantly refuses to comply. The sinister opponent is shocked as his adversary manages to stand up far sooner than expected. He concentrates intensely, preparing to land a decisive blow. One character stands confused while the other prepares to act with determination. One character bursts into laughter, clearly entertained by what just happened. One character laughs loudly and admits defeat, while another reacts in surprise. Young Min grants his opponent the power needed to challenge and defeat him. A gloved hand rummages through clothing, urgently searching for a hidden item. A hand lifts a large, ornate book after finally discovering it. An energetic figure urgently hands a large, important book to another person. The protagonist approaches a large red book placed on the ground by a mysterious figure wearing yellow gloves. The protagonist steadies himself, his expression turning resolute as he prepares for what comes next. A glowing notification announces the acquisition of the martial god's scripture. A digital interface reveals the martial god's scripture can grant new skills and force a class change upon use. Overwhelmed by shock, the character exclaims in disbelief at the revelation. One character urgently explains there are only about 30 legendary grade items in the game and questions if a higher grade even exists, stressing the seriousness of the situation. One character slumps over in exhaustion while another looks on with exasperation. A glowing, divine tier skill book suddenly appears, leaving the protagonist astonished. Youngmin opens a glowing red book and reacts with surprise. The mentor reassures the learner that mastering this technique does not make him her disciple and encourages him to focus on surpassing the limits of martial arts rather than being restricted by a single skill. Startled by something unexpected, he jolts in shock. Youngmin demonstrates his versatile fighting skills by delivering a powerful martial arts kick during the battle. One character energetically urges the other to pay close attention, leaving them confused by the sudden challenge. A character drives their foot into the ground and charges forward, sending debris flying. Lena closes her eyes and takes a moment to steady herself. A shadowy figure launches a fiery punch with explosive force. A determined figure smashes through the stone wall with a powerful punch. The protagonist freezes, his face tense with shock as he realizes something alarming. Lena unleashes her power, energy swirling around her as she smirks confidently. Two opponents unleash a surge of energy as their hands collide in a fierce clash. A monstrous blue spirit towers over a girl as she braces herself with magic, ready to confront the threat. A woman stands confidently, showing a sly smile as she displays her golden armored gloves. He nervously regrets challenging someone beyond his limits. She encourages him to choose his own path and name it himself. Lena assigns an important task with a warm, encouraging smile. A glowing object crashes into the ground as Youngmin approaches. A glowing green crystal is discovered on the ground. A gloved hand carefully examines the glowing martial god's soul fragment, its purpose still unknown. The protagonist discovers a glowing legendary item but is puzzled by its unknown purpose. Youngmin, feeling resolute, prepares to use the glowing crystal with the open book. A glowing magical book bursts open, and a surprised girl emerges as the boy holding it recoils in shock. Standing tall with arms crossed, she challenges him to prove his determination if he truly seeks power. A new quest appears, challenging the player to reach level 50 without using spare ability points. A system notification announces that all allocated ability points will be reset and the user's level will decrease accordingly. A confident guide explains that all spare ability points will be reset and the level will decrease based on the points used. An energetic figure points upward with a confident smile, basking in dramatic light. One character leaps energetically into the air while another stands by, silently watching. One character realizes nothing is happening because they forgot to use their spare ability points, while another floats beside them in frustration. A chibi girl erupts in frustration, while the boy beside her looks on in shock. Youngmin questions why nothing has changed after a strange event. Youngmin observes the strange glowing energy in the sky, puzzled by its presence. Youngmin channels blue energy as shards float around him, preparing to unleash his power. Plummeting from the sky, the character suddenly realizes he is back outside. A massive energy burst erupts from the forest clearing, shaking the cliffs. The protagonist crashes to the ground and lies dazed, questioning why he had to fall from midair. The protagonist jolts upright, alarmed to realize he has returned to the same place. He looks at his hand with relief after successfully securing the important item. A digital info box reveals the immense powers and stats of the martial god's gauntlet. A character is stunned after discovering an item with overwhelmingly high stats. He hesitates, weighing whether to use it. Youngmin readies himself for battle on the forested hillside. Youngmin charges forward with fierce determination, ready to attack. Someone reacts with sudden shock. System messages reveal that the gauntlet's abilities are sealed and will unlock as the user's level increases. A character unleashes a powerful surge of energy from their outstretched arm. He recoils in shock after stumbling upon something unexpected. Youngmin is struck in the abdomen by a sudden, powerful energy blast, his expression contorted in pain. A glowing screen displays the title, Elemental Master, signaling the receipt of a major new status. A status screen reveals that a legendary object is sealed. A digital screen reveals the abilities and stats of a powerful gauntlet designed to enhance elemental control and martial arts skills. A notification appears, announcing the level cap has been reached and no further progress can be made in the beginner zone. A notification appears, confirming the completion of the martial god's final trial quest. A character's eye widens in shock after realizing something unexpected. Youngmin realizes his attack power has drastically decreased, leaving him frustrated and disappointed. A card drops swiftly to the ground beside the character. A new fire elemental attack becomes available as the martial god's soul fragment reacts. A shocked young man discovers he can unleash a glowing elemental attack from his fist. A mysterious tree is suddenly revealed, radiating with an intense energy. A fierce combatant unleashes a massive, explosive kick, sending energy surging across the battlefield. He recalls his technique and prepares to unleash his power, exuding confidence. He realizes he must collect 5 more of the martial god's soul fragments to continue his quest. The protagonist learns that the reward for success is a rematch with the martial god. He realizes he can fight again and celebrates his return as a challenger. He notices new skills have appeared but decides to review them later. A character stands resolutely before a thundering waterfall, preparing to face the challenge ahead. A determined character decides it's time to leave the beginner zone and move forward. An airplane flies swiftly through the clear sky. Several people arrive at the terminal entrance and head toward the gate. A group arrives at a new location, rolling a suitcase behind them. She receives a surprising message on her phone asking for in-game items and money. A group discusses their surprise at how quickly someone has advanced past the beginner zone in the game after just a week. Lena prepares to contact someone through the in-game messenger. Two users exchange messages as one excitedly asks about the other's rapid progress and mysterious new ability called Nature's Body. She anxiously checks her phone while standing in the crowded terminal. A character announces they have reached level 50 after spending additional time in the beginner zone. A girl stares at her phone in shock while a nearby boy reacts nervously to her sudden outburst about a surprising level. One character shares their rapid game progress and chosen class, while the other offers advice, equipment, and money in response. A shocked woman reacts loudly in a crowded area after discovering someone reached level 50 without using any extra ability points. One character expresses amazement at another's rapid progress to level 50 and offers to send items to improve their attack power. He sits in the busy courtyard, dismissing doubts about his attack power. A digital conversation unfolds as one player promises to send valuable items, money, and strategic advice through the game's mail system. Youngmin scratches his head and reacts to the chaotic situation around him. The protagonist prepares to collect new items and allocate extra ability points after receiving a notification about unread mail. The protagonist steps forward confidently in the glowing public space while another person watches from behind. Youngmin confidently offers to go out and demonstrate his skills. Someone secretly watches as a young man walks alone down the empty street. She leans forward and asks if that is the person they are looking for. Three armed strangers discuss how their target has already changed his equipment. Two men smirk as one boasts about his fortune from selling a full set of magic-grade equipment. Two men discuss the impressive and expensive equipment, questioning if the owner is really just a side character. With a sly grin, he expresses eagerness to get new weapons. The scene opens with a clear blue sky and scattered clouds, establishing a calm atmosphere. A devastated landscape stretches out, dominated by a ruined building teetering on the edge of a vast canyon. He hesitates at the rocky path, uncertain if he is heading in the right direction. Youngmin desperately cries out for help, his face contorted in panic. A girl shouts in alarm, questioning if there is a pervert. A terrified girl sprints away as a massive gray mane orc charges after her. She slips and crashes to the ground in panic. He hesitates in the rocky landscape, debating whether to intervene and claim the kill. A man forcefully orders a surprised woman to move aside as she kneels on the ground. A massive green monster lunges forward, swinging its axe toward its alarmed target. She realizes the gray mane orc is much stronger than those found in the beginner zone. A fierce attack is launched as a character leaps forward and swings his arm at the monster. A character is suddenly startled and reacts with visible shock. A stunned companion reacts as the high-level orc falls, defeated in a single blow. A worried companion urgently calls out for help, clutching her chest. A startled character quickly apologizes for kill stealing, unsure what the other person is saying. She hesitates, flustered and unable to explain herself. A powerful attack is unleashed as a massive weapon slices through the air with explosive force. A sudden blue slash whips past, forcing Youngmin to dodge in shock. Youngmin stomps down hard, crushing the spearhead into the ground. Youngmin looks up, startled by something unexpected. Someone steps decisively onto a tree stump but is stopped by a sudden question. Two armed bandits stand on a rocky ledge, taunting someone below and preparing for a fight. Two opponents engage in a fierce weapon duel in the middle of a forest clearing. Two men smirk in surprise as something unexpected happens. A notification panel announces that self-defense is now permitted without penalty, allowing attacks or lethal force against opponents. Youngmin clenches his glowing fists and wonders if the person before him is PK. He charges forward and attacks the two opponents, confronting the one with the spear head-on. A furious man lifts his weapon, ready to strike. Two fighters charge forward simultaneously, unleashing powerful attacks at their opponent. Youngmin lands a powerful, glowing strike on his opponent. Seizing the opening, Youngmin delivers a powerful blow that leaves his armored opponent reeling in pain. Overcome by rage, he unleashes a powerful scream as blood splatters across his furious face. A fierce fighter swings his axe upward, hurling his opponent through the air. As red lines pulse in the background, one character snarls in anger while the other stands frozen in shock, both reacting intensely to a sudden event. An enraged young man charges forward, swinging his sword in anger. A violent explosion knocks someone back as they scream in pain. He hoists the arrow-riddled enemy over his shoulder with ease. Youngmin raises his arm and accuses someone of betraying the team. A furious woman screams a deadly threat at her opponent. A woman launches a sudden, powerful attack at her startled opponent as a menacing figure watches from behind. A furious attacker charges at the shocked defender with a weapon, launching a sudden assault. The attacker lands a powerful punch, sending the defender flying backward. She smirks in exhaustion and declares her victory over her opponent. Suddenly, someone grabs the hilt of a large knife at their waist, ready to respond to the threat. A confident young man catches his attacker by the wrist, stopping the ambush and warning of the consequences. He slams his opponent into the ground with overwhelming force. She collapses to the ground, eyes wide with terror as she struggles to react to the sudden threat. A character swiftly pulls a large, spiked weapon from their back, readying for action. A furious man unleashes a relentless barrage with his repeating crossbow. A character stomps the ground, sending out a surge of blue energy. Youngmin launches a rapid, energy-charged attack, leaving glowing afterimages in his wake. He slams his gauntlet fist into the ground, unleashing a surge of blue energy. Youngmin narrows his eyes, fully concentrating as he prepares for a decisive moment. A character shouts in frustration in the middle of the forest. A furious attacker lunges, but Youngmin swiftly counters with a sharp defensive move. He swings his weapon in a powerful arc, knocking down several attackers at once. Youngmin questions if a sword is better than a crossbow as he confidently faces an incoming attack. A determined man charges forward and strikes at his cloaked, animal-eared opponent with a glowing weapon. A man is suddenly stabbed by a sword-wielding attacker. A young man strains as he blocks a powerful attack with his sword. Consumed by rage, he unleashes a savage, blood-soaked attack. Youngmin delivers a powerful kick that hurls his opponent into the wall. Youngmin grins with determination as he reveals his next move is an upward kick. Sunlight shines through the green treetops, introducing a peaceful outdoor setting. An enraged character, held down by force, shouts defiantly at his attacker. A male character collapses onto the ground and lies still, completely exhausted. A victorious figure stands over defeated enemies in the forest as a shocked companion lies on the ground nearby, marking a successful level up. After defeating his opponents, the character notes his level up and realizes they must have been high-level enemies. The character reacts with shock as he faces an unexpected revelation. A character notices a valuable sword among the dropped items and reacts with surprise. He considers whether to keep hunting and follow the path where the orc appeared. 2 large ceremonial torches burn brightly against the evening sky. A lone figure surveys the enemy camp from the edge of the cliff. The protagonist spots the Greymane orc tribe and confirms the mission is to defeat the chief and rescue the prisoners. The group debates their next move in the dimly lit loft, weighing the best method to proceed. With fierce determination, he prepares to launch a direct attack. A furious man confronts another, insisting that the character in question is not an alternate. A fist crackling with red energy slams down in a surge of frustration. The group grows tense as one character suspects that the mysterious player might actually be a skilled ranker using an alternate account. One character frantically announces they've lost their wooden weapon, causing tension and frustration in the group. One character urgently interrupts, insisting the current topic isn't important. She glares fiercely at the 2 nervous men, causing them to freeze in place. The protagonist shouts with determination, vowing to catch his enemy. A startled man reacts defiantly as he challenges the other figure for calling for backup. Youngmin mocks the opposing team's reliance on paid items and dismisses their earlier lead. A glowing tablet materializes between the 2 men as they stand tensely face to face. A tense young man urgently requests help through a digital screen after discovering a heavily equipped opponent. A shadowy figure on a digital screen angrily scolds subordinates for failing to follow orders and getting defeated. The young man angrily warns someone to stay quiet, hinting at a complicated situation. A figure urgently demands the coordinates through a digital screen. The man quickly points out the location while holding the glowing tablet. A glowing rectangular device activates and floats in front of the character's shoulder. A man sits triumphantly atop his defeated guildmate, relishing his victory. The man leans forward with a menacing smirk, demanding information. A group of armed individuals menacingly prepares to hunt after subduing their enemy. A powerful explosion rips through the campsite, scattering debris and destroying tents. An orc is suddenly interrupted while drinking and looks up in surprise. A startled figure is ambushed by a sudden, forceful attack. Debris crashes down as the roof collapses, violently striking the struggling character. A powerful punch connects, sending a burst of energy through the air. He bursts through the exploding debris with unwavering determination. A monstrous figure is trapped and panics as massive wooden stakes crash down around it. A wounded green-skinned creature trapped under rubble desperately begs for help. Splintered wood and debris litter the ground after a violent destruction. An orc reels in fury after being wounded by a sudden sneak attack. A monstrous green-skinned figure is struck head-on by a powerful red energy blast. Youngmin lands a powerful roundhouse kick on his beast-like opponent. 2 goblins cower in fear under a wooden beam. Youngmin stands confidently over the defeated green monster, while 2 startled figures watch from the foreground. Youngmin threatens the unseen attacker, his expression dark and intense. With relentless force, Youngmin charges forward and overwhelms the goblin-like enemies in a rapid assault. A command to attack is urgently given. An arrow pierces the monster's shoulder, causing it to roar in pain as blood spurts from the wound. Startled, Youngmin spins around while restraining the unconscious green creature. A sudden barrage of arrows ambushes the goblin-like creatures, leaving several wounded. Youngmin swiftly attacks an orc while assessing the absence of archers in the tribe. A figure approaches as Youngmin stands over his defeated opponent. A group of menacing figures led by an armored man advances together, confronting an unknown threat. 3 antagonists grin as they mock their unseen opponents for dodging an attack, dismissing them as mere item carriers. He spots someone with red eyes and immediately realizes they could be a player killer. Surrounded by fallen foes, he watches as the remaining enemies approach cautiously, assessing their tactics. 3 armored men display their levels, revealing one at 69 and another at 52, highlighting the gap in their strength. He realizes that with his bonus ability points, he might actually be stronger than expected. He confidently taunts his opponents, suggesting they try 5 against 1. 3 adversaries mock their target, daring him to keep laughing as they prepare to attack. A hooded young man confidently readies his bow to attack. One character warns about the enemy's powerful attack as the other charges in, undeterred. 2 spears hurtle forward through the glowing blue background. A determined figure launches a fierce overhead attack with a glowing sword. Startled by a sudden event, he reacts in shock. Youngmin leaps forward and delivers a flying kick at the red-hooded archer preparing to shoot. A man in a red hood screams as he is struck by a glowing weapon. With a surge of desperate energy, he lifts his weapon overhead and prepares to strike his vulnerable opponent. Launching from above, the hero strikes down fiercely at the armored enemy. 2 arrows race through the air toward their target. Youngmin leaps forward, startled by an unexpected threat. He swiftly dodges as arrows explode around him, forcing him to brace for impact. He realizes he made a costly mistake by allowing the enemy an opportunity to attack. A furious attacker brings a massive spiked weapon crashing down with overwhelming force. Youngmin swiftly dodges a red energy attack that barely misses him. Youngmin explodes in anger and hurls an insult at someone. A fierce combatant unleashes a high-speed kick, catching the opponent off guard amid a burst of explosive energy. She frantically tugs at the spiked ball, unable to free it from the ground. Spotting his chance, the protagonist prepares to take action. An armored figure stomps down, crushing the spiked weapon with overwhelming force. A man is struck violently in the face and torso by a powerful blow. A forceful kick lands squarely on her face, sending her staggering back from the impact. Youngmin thrusts his fist forward and unleashes a powerful magical attack. A gloved hand hurls a blue-bladed weapon with deadly precision. Youngmin darts aside to avoid a sudden volley of arrows. A worried character urgently calls out to someone who might be hurt in the forest. One fighter readies his blue sword to face interference while another, injured, struggles to recover nearby. Youngmin advises that if approaching is difficult, escaping first is necessary. A male character bolts through the tall grass toward the forest as pursuers shout for his capture. Two archers unleash arrows at the fleeing target, urging each other to catch him before he escapes into the forest. Youngmin glances back and confirms that his pursuers are still on his trail. The two characters sprint across the grassy clearing, one urgently leading the other. He braces himself, refusing to surrender as he prepares to fight back. Crouched behind a tree, a man anxiously scans the area while two figures search the forest clearing for their elusive opponent. A man urgently orders the others to stop talking and start searching for the target. Frustrated, she raises her gloved hand gripping a blue-bladed weapon and questions how they can find him if he's completely hidden. He clenches his jaw in frustration, his irritation clear as he stands half-shadowed. Frustrated after losing their target, the hostile man angrily tells his companion they've completely lost him while searching the grassy area. The group abandons their mission and prepares to leave, frustrated by their failure. He smirks confidently, ready for what comes next. A blonde character braces for an encounter as an opponent descends rapidly toward him in the grassy field. A determined fighter lands a powerful kick, forcing his opponent to scream in pain. A figure suddenly ambushes the group in the forest, taking down one man with a single strike as the others react in shock. He smirks confidently and raises two gloved fingers to his mouth in a signature gesture. He signals that only two tasks remain. Two furious men advance with weapons, threatening the person in front of them. A surge of energy erupts as the protagonist suddenly launches a powerful attack. Two characters spot a magical distortion in the trees and realize their enemy has vanished using a stealth skill. Two alarmed characters urgently warn each other about an unexpected threat that could appear at any moment. Using the forest for cover, the protagonist prepares to ambush his enemy with the dagger's stealth skill. A determined attacker launches himself at two startled opponents, catching them off guard. Youngmin leaps forward and strikes his opponent in the face with a powerful kick as another character watches in shock. A hostile attacker swings a weapon, but Youngmin leaps over and dodges the strike. A character reels as a powerful punch lands forcefully on their torso. A violent, red-charged attack strikes the injured character, knocking him back. He recoils in shock, his face frozen with terror. Youngmin forcefully pins his opponent to the ground and raises his fist to strike. Youngmin staggers as a violent surge of red energy erupts from his eyes. A character is struck by multiple powerful energy blasts and cries out in pain. Youngmin launches a forceful attack, his focus unwavering. A figure swiftly dodges a barrage of fiery projectiles exploding around him. He steels his resolve, eyes burning with determination as he prepares for the challenge ahead. He grips his spear tighter, annoyed that his attack failed to finish the opponents, and prepares to strike again. Youngmin yells fiercely as energy surges around him. A surprised figure is suddenly immobilized midair as energy restraints and projectiles pin his feet to the wall. A man confronts his target with a smug taunt, blocking any chance of escape. He reveals his skill, Shadowbind, while glaring defiantly despite the arrow in his shoulder. Determined to break through, he channels his strength and releases a surge of energy. A man mocks his opponent's lack of understanding about skill effects, taunting him for attempting to break one with brute force. A startled man with a bow recoils in shock after being accused of being an alt in the forest clearing. Realizing the other person is dangerous, Youngmin grows increasingly uneasy. A hostile man urges his group to attack immediately before their opponent becomes stronger. A hostile man unleashes a defense-ignoring skill, aiming his glowing arrow to relentlessly attack his target. A barrage of arrows hurtles toward the defender, but a glowing magical barrier stops them in midair. Youngmin recoils in shock as he processes the sudden turn of events. A man fires a glowing gun at his opponent during a tense standoff in the forest. One character fires a toy gun and taunts while the other pants and takes cover behind a couch. Youngmin brushes off the attack as insignificant after successfully dodging it, leaving his opponent in shock. Youngmin braces himself and analyzes the gun barrel's movement as a weapon hurtles toward his opponent. Youngmin narrowly evades a devastating ground attack as someone remarks on his ability to dodge bullets. The startled man grips his blades tightly, shocked that his attack was dodged. A combatant unleashes a rapid barrage of energy projectiles with a large weapon, intensifying the attack. Youngmin grits his teeth and yanks a glowing, jagged object out of his wounded arm. The Shadowbind skill deactivates as its duration ends. A red armored figure slams their foot into the ground, launching forward with intense speed. A powerful blast erupts as the protagonist strikes the tree, releasing explosive force. A character lunges forward, catching their sword-wielding opponent off guard. He grits his teeth and readies himself for the challenge ahead. A massive beast charges forward as a character braces to confront the sudden threat. Youngmin charges at the shadowy monster, deflecting its attack with defiant aggression. Youngmin lunges forward at full speed to catch his opponent. A figure launches a powerful, glowing kick in a burst of intense motion. The protagonist shouts in panic, his face twisted with alarm against a vivid red background. A confident man taunts the inexperienced hunters as he demonstrates his skill with shadows. Youngmin narrowly evades a vicious attack as a monstrous beast lunges at him. The monstrous beast unleashes a fearsome roar, sending terror through the air. Blood sprays violently across the white background. A man screams in disbelief, overwhelmed by shock. A fierce blast of energy erupts from Young Min, striking the beast's claw as it charges. A furious man charges at his opponent, threatening to tie up all their limbs while swinging a glowing weapon. A determined figure forcefully strikes the ground, unleashing a wave of powerful energy blasts. Young Min angrily confronts his opponent, dismissing the repeated tactic. A devastating attack crashes into the ground, unleashing a surge of energy. A male character launches a fierce fire attack at his masked opponent. A powerful force slams into the protagonist, causing him to scream in pain as energy bursts around him. The protagonist burns away the opponent's shadow technique with a fiery punch, rendering it useless. A monstrous beast lunges as Young Min braces himself for the attack. He lunges forward with a smug grin, easily dodging the attack and taunting his opponent. A powerful punch lands across Young Min's face, knocking him back in pain. A monstrous shadow creature lunges forward as the protagonist braces for combat, energy crackling in the air. Young Min swiftly dodges as the monstrous beast snaps its jaws at him. Young Min wipes sweat from his face, relieved after narrowly escaping danger. Young Min stands confidently in the clearing after defeating his two opponents. A red armored figure stands over a defeated man, declaring the fight finished. Young Min stands over his defeated opponent, inspecting the loot he just claimed. A character inspects the inventory, noting the abundance of high-quality loot likely gained from defeating high-level players. One character insists on important game rules while the other ignores her advice and decides to use the equipment without permission. Sunlight filters through the dense forest as the area is quietly surveyed. The protagonist reviews his progress on a glowing screen while an enemy launches a surprise attack from behind. A blue-haired character struggles to catch their breath in the bushes while another silently watches, tension lingering after the confrontation. A wounded figure surveys the scene in panic, surrounded by fallen bodies. Young Min freezes in shock as he notices a looming, shadowy figure. A towering figure cracks his knuckles menacingly as he intimidates the armed woman standing before him. A nervous man hesitantly points towards something in the distance. Shadowy figures assault someone, who cries out in pain amid the chaos. Soft clouds drift across a tranquil sky, establishing a peaceful atmosphere. The scene shifts to a lively medieval town square filled with activity under the bright sun. Young Min moves determinedly through the crowded medieval town square, weaving past armored figures. He points out the person he mentioned earlier, prompting his companion to react with surprise. The protagonist learns about a rookie whose impressive equipment and rapid quest completion raise suspicion. The group arrives at a guarded entrance and prepares to confront the guard. He suddenly recoils in shock, startled by an unexpected development. The helmeted figure steps forward confidently while two others, including one with a sword, watch from behind. A tense standoff unfolds as Young Min stands his ground before a group of unfamiliar, armed figures. Walking through the crowd, he quickly realizes that hidden figures are secretly watching him. The scene shifts to a quiet, well-maintained building exterior. A wooden door slowly creaks open. Two armored men stand side by side indoors, both appearing tense and ready for confrontation. A cheerful attendant welcomes visitors and introduces the trading company's comprehensive storage services. A woman offers to deposit items for the attentive man in the warmly lit room. Young Min confidently affirms his decision. He carefully selects a weapon from the table. Two cloaked figures argue in the foreground while shadowy figures watch from behind. Two hidden figures secretly watch as two people talk inside the shop. Young Min swiftly activates the holographic screen, initiating the system. The protagonist pauses to decide where to fish after receiving a prompt to investigate the labyrinth of the dead. An ancient, vine-covered building appears at the top of a grand stone staircase, illuminated by glowing sconces. A torch-lit hallway stretches through the ancient temple as the exploration continues. Two opponents face each other with confident smiles, both gripping their swords and ready to strike. A group of armed adventurers prepares to breach the massive dungeon door. Two armed men wait confidently, preparing to ambush anyone who enters the maze dungeon. A man outlines a plan to ambush and eliminate their target as soon as he exits the dungeon. The soldiers patrol the deserted street, unsettled by the unusual silence. Young Min catches his opponent off guard with a sudden move while holding a sword. Young Min fiercely duels an opponent as a bat-like shadow emerges from the cracked wall. A monstrous stone golem lunges forward, forcing the group to recoil in terror. Two armored men tense up and brace themselves for an unexpected threat. Armored boots stride confidently onto the dimly lit stone path, marking an impressive entrance. Armed defenders close ranks as a shadowy figure emerges from the darkness. Young Min arrives at the scene and confidently observes that everyone has gathered. Two armed figures realize an ambush has been set near the exit as tension rises among the surrounding spear wielders. The wounded character clenches his arm and steels himself for what comes next. A group of hostile men ambush at the exit while one of them mocks the wounded character's low life force. One character grabs another by the collar during a tense confrontation, insisting it's a misunderstanding. A character confidently reveals 3 glowing stat potions, shocking everyone present. A furious man grips his staff and accuses someone in the crowd of unfairly using a potion. Stat boosts surge through the protagonist as his strength and agility increase. A character slams their foot down, unleashing a surge of crackling energy as they prepare to attack. He drives forward and throws a powerful punch at his opponent. Young Min taunts the group surrounding him, calling them cowards for ganging up on him. Young Min leaps over the spear attack and counters in midair. Young Min urgently rallies the group to prepare for action. A fighter unleashes a powerful roundhouse kick, sending the opponent flying backward. A furious man charges forward, attacking with his weapon. Young Min grips his staff and prepares to face his opponent. Young Min is struck hard in the face, reeling from the impact. A fighter launches a surprise aerial attack on an armored opponent as chaos erupts nearby. Realizing the potion's effect is fading, the protagonist urgently draws his glowing blue sword. The protagonist unleashes a powerful spinning kick, striking an opponent as armored and masked figures watch. A man commands his group to surround their target, signaling an imminent ambush. A foot crashes onto the ground, signaling a sudden and intense arrival. Young Min charges forward and unleashes a powerful attack at his enemies. He steps forward with determination, blocking the impending threat. A red-gloved fist crashes into the wall, releasing a surge of energy. The protagonist sprints past the guards toward the massive door. He charges after the fleeing opponent through the stone temple, weapons glowing with energy. A barrage of metallic arrows streaks swiftly through the air. A sudden fiery projectile narrowly misses Young Min, forcing him to react instantly. Young Min swiftly dodges a barrage of energy projectiles streaking toward him from above. Young Min recoils in shock as blue projectiles race toward him with unexpected speed. 3 armed attackers lunge forward, thrusting their spears at their target. He charges forward with confidence, ready to face the oncoming enemies. He sprints across the stone floor, narrowly dodging a barrage of deadly projectiles. A hand in a red sleeve forcefully slams down on the table, emphasizing the tension in the room. Young Min raises his shield and blocks a powerful attack as sparks fly. A decisive blow sends several attackers flying as the fight escalates. A man writhes on the ground, screaming in pain as 2 attackers stand over him, one holding a weapon. A shocked man recoils and clutches his chest in alarm. Someone frantically searches the empty temple room for the missing person. Armed searchers sweep the stone courtyard, alert for any sign of the missing person. A wary figure hides behind a stone wall, preparing to observe the area without being seen. Young Min smirks with determination as he prepares to take action. He declares the 2 armed opponents are his prey as he confronts them in the ancient temple. Anxious voices echo through the empty stone corridor as the search for the missing person intensifies. A distressed man in armor grips his sword and reacts in shock to his opponent's abilities. The 2 men realize they are trapped without any way to escape. A furious man mocks his rival for retreating after taking a beating. A man holding a bow looks up in shock as chaos and rain suddenly erupt around him. Alert to a suspicious noise, the character cautiously investigates the dark, overgrown corridor. 2 glowing red eyes suddenly emerge from the darkness, startling everyone. A group charges forward with urgency, their footsteps pounding as they advance. A monstrous entity appears, its glowing eyes staring menacingly from the darkness. Armored skeletons suddenly charge forward as someone recoils in terror. Armored monsters suddenly ambush the area, causing people to panic and flee. 2 armored characters panic as they spot an overwhelming threat blocking their path and urgently call for retreat. Young Min charges through the air and strikes a group of armored monsters with a powerful, electrified attack. Young Min charges forward and attacks the skeletons with determination. 3 hostile figures step forward, initiating a tense confrontation. Grinning with determination, Young Min rallies to retaliate against his opponents. 2 armed men charge forward as one shouts the order to kill their target at all costs. A character charges forward at high speed, propelled by urgency. Young Min launches a surprise aerial attack against 2 startled armored opponents. Young Min strides forward, forcing the armed group to brace for confrontation. Young Min waves with a smile and announces that he is leaving. 2 armored men freeze in shock as they react to something unexpected off-panel. An armored man confronts the panicked young man at close range. A group of armored skeletons with glowing red eyes suddenly charge, causing the young man to recoil in terror. With the obstacles cleared, the group prepares to finish the quest in the ancient temple chamber. He steels himself, ready to face the next challenge. A character realizes that the glowing crystal, which was supposed to be in the stone structure, is now missing. A determined adventurer steps closer to the glowing crystal, sensing its great value. Young Min stares in amazement at the glowing blue crystal floating before him. A gloved hand seizes the glowing blue crystal shard. A gloved hand seizes the glowing crystal shard as energy crackles dangerously around it. He clenches his teeth and struggles to endure the intense, familiar pain. Gritting his teeth, he clutches the glowing blue crystal and forces its power to surge. He catches his breath, eyes burning with determination. Startled by a sudden shock, a young man collapses to the floor of the ancient temple, breathing heavily in fear. A mysterious force begins to absorb the aura of death. A system notification announces that the protagonist has unlocked new death element powers, including a passive attack with a chance to instantly kill weakened enemies. Clutching his chest and trembling, Young Min anxiously questions whether the recent change is actually good. A character stands by the glowing magical symbol, checking if the quest is now complete. A powerful beam of energy crashes into the temple altar as onlookers react in shock. A digital interface flashes as Secret Quest 003 activates, branches, and is suddenly deleted due to a system error. A dramatic notification announces that Legend Quest 001 has been triggered. The scene opens with a calm blue sky and soft clouds, setting a peaceful atmosphere. The scene shifts to a lively European-style town square under bright sunlight. A blue energy projectile slams into the city plaza, startling a nearby guard. He lands forcefully on the ground, releasing a burst of energy. The protagonist stretches outside the wooden building, feeling the lingering ache in his body. Sensing an ominous presence, Young Min quickly turns his head as a shadowy figure approaches. A heavily armored knight and his guards stand their ground, facing an imposing figure. An armored man introduces himself as the captain of the Vigilante Corps and prepares to question someone. Startled and wary, Young Min demands to know why the Vigilante Corps is searching for him. The scene reveals the sunlit entrance of a tavern, marked by a hanging sign with a mug. A tense silence fills the room as Young Min sits quietly at the table, surrounded by armored men watching his every move. A stern man confronts a tense young man, demanding to know if he conquered the labyrinth of the dead, and the young man confirms that he did. A cheering crowd erupts as a surprised figure enters, drawing everyone's attention. A stern armored man confronts the nervous protagonist, causing tension. A serious man reveals that the dungeon originated in the communal graveyard where villagers were buried. The villagers discover that the armored skeletons are their lost loved ones, now finally at peace. Youngmin forces a nervous smile as he awkwardly accepts thanks for using others to catch PK criminals. The protagonist sits tensely at the table while an armored figure stands nearby, both awaiting the next move. A stern armored man asks to know the name of their benefactor. He confidently reveals the name Rian. A young man smiles as a group of armored soldiers cheer and congratulate him. A system message appears, announcing a triumphant achievement. A digital notification announces the rare achievement. Hero of Hilo's Village. Granting fame, maximum favor, and shop discounts. 2 armored villagers present a gift box to the protagonist as a reward for resolving the village's long-standing problem. A magical firework item is introduced, capable of summoning the Hilo's Village Vigilante Corps after use. Youngmin questions the purpose of the unexpected gift, laughing awkwardly as he addresses the shadowy figure. 2 armored figures celebrate a recent accomplishment in the sunlit room. 3 armored men discuss how the village's Vigilante Corps is the strongest in the area due to their high levels. Youngmin confidently challenges someone to test their fighting skills. A commanding man urgently orders everyone to salute the hero. Youngmin stands calmly as armed guards surround him with their spears raised. A bald man with a scar assures support and instructs to use a firecracker for immediate assistance. Under pressure from the armored soldiers, he reluctantly agrees to their demands. Early sunlight bathes a quiet street corner, introducing a peaceful new setting. Youngmin stands outside, smiling as he discovers something important on his laptop. The protagonist pauses outside the building to sort through his overflowing inventory using the interface screen. A confident character addresses someone, trying to confirm their identity. A man in glasses greets the younger man with a warm smile. Youngmin confronts an unknown person and demands their identity. A polite man bows and introduces himself as a scout from the Split Guild. A character greets from afar, catching another off guard. One character voices suspicion about Scout's motives, while another reacts in surprise. A cheerful man defensively explains he is not a swindler and asks why he was sought out. A confident young man explains to someone off-panel that the Split Guild is a major group ranked in the top 100. A character reacts in shock, loudly expressing disbelief at unfamiliar information. The protagonist asks about the ranking of another guild, expressing concern over its position in the top 100. A proud man enthusiastically boasts about his guild's high ranking and future ambitions. With a friendly smile, he invites the other person to join his guild. A confident man tries to recruit new talent, but his offer is firmly rejected. Youngmin stands firm in his decision as another character desperately tries to change his mind. A recruiter promises full guild support, offering items, hunting grounds, and strategies to entice a potential member. A man tries to persuade another to join his group by offering to waive the entrance test, but the other walks away toward a large building. A pair of red shoes steps confidently onto the tiled floor, marking a determined entrance. He firmly rejects the offer, insisting on handling things alone. He surveys the quiet street, scanning his surroundings with focused determination. He adjusts his glasses with determination, readying himself for what comes next. A character offers encouragement and wishes someone good luck before they leave. The empty living room stands quiet, sunlight streaming through large windows and gym equipment visible upstairs. A character locates the email on a futuristic tablet. Youngmin studies the glowing tablet, deep in thought. He looks down with a sly, confident smile as light reflects off his glasses. A young man confidently boasts about his guild's high ranking and ambition to break into the top 50. He remains silent, lost in intense thought. Ignoring the ease offered by guild support, the hunters charge the massive beast, seeking challenge over comfort. He voices his suspicion, noticing something seems off. A focused combatant unleashes a decisive attack on the monstrous beast, impressing the watching crowd. 3 menacing figures corner a tense young woman in the dimly lit room. The protagonist realizes that only PK criminals could have figured out his abilities. 4 figures gather in the rocky clearing, exchanging sinister looks as they secretly plot their next move. Someone praises Min Young for efficiently organizing the game data in a calm living room. Young Min sits on the couch, embarrassed as he realizes how reckless his actions were. She activates nature's body to boost her combat power while analyzing its elemental effects against her opponent. A surge of energy bursts from his chest as he realizes the extent of his newfound power. Young Min looks up, startled by something unexpected. While examining a glowing tablet, the character considers how to obtain new attributes and martial arts skills. Youngmin asks if he needs to memorize all the information. He waits alone in the quiet plaza, watching his surroundings. Blue energy crackles around him as he stands confidently in the street, preparing to unleash his power. Villagers eagerly greet their returning hero in the busy village square. 2 players watch as a crowd of NPCs cheers for someone who just completed a village quest, reacting with curiosity and annoyance. A group of men mock the newcomer as he logs in, smirking and laughing among themselves. A vast chamber filled with upright swords embedded in the stone floor is revealed. He considers using the skills he acquired from the skill books. A wooden mallet is smashed apart with explosive force, sending debris flying. Youngmin bursts forward through debris, leading an aggressive charge. Youngmin charges forward at full speed, radiating powerful energy. Youngmin delivers a forceful kick to the wooden structure, sending debris flying. Youngmin tries to lift the object but realizes it is harder to move than he expected. Despite being hit hard, the character refuses to give in. A training dummy shatters under a powerful blow. Youngmin unleashes a devastating kick, smashing debris and sending objects flying through the air. Ruined wooden dummies litter the ground after a challenging test. He prepares to take decisive action, his confidence unmistakable. He cracks his knuckles and steps toward the battered training dummy, ready to attack. A hand surges with blue energy as a powerful ability is activated. Youngmin unleashes a powerful blast of elemental fire. A sudden explosion of energy engulfs the armored figures, overwhelming them. Amidst the wreckage, the character reviews his upgraded abilities and discovers that a new skill called Explosion is now available. Youngmin grips the metal pipe and triggers an explosive power. A surge of energy erupts from Youngmin, violently blasting debris into the air. Energy suddenly surrounds his hands, leaving him shocked by the mysterious power. Youngmin surveys the wreckage of the armored vehicle and confirms the outcome is sufficient. Youngmin eagerly puts on his gloves and gets ready to go outside. He confidently anticipates that others are eagerly awaiting his arrival. Sunlight streams across the silent meadow, revealing distant mountains under a clear sky. Youngmin stands alone, gathering his resolve as a faint green aura surrounds him. He stands alone in the sunlit clearing, lost in thought. An armed figure urgently warns the group as another approaches, prompting immediate action. Two men crouch together outdoors, scheming revenge after being made to wait for 2 hours. A vast field of tall grass extends beneath a bright sky, with distant mountains visible on the horizon. The forest stands quiet and empty, setting the scene for what is to come. A wolf snarls and bares its fangs, ready to attack. A blue beastman warrior raises his axe and charges forward. A beast-like warrior commands the group to charge as they rush into battle. A determined fighter launches a powerful roundhouse kick at the large blue monster. A blue creature is violently knocked back by a powerful attack as others watch. Two blue, saber-toothed creatures stand silently, looking confused and at a loss for words. A sudden attack erupts in the forest, shattering the calm with violent noise and flying debris. Two stunned men watch from above as they realize someone below possesses overwhelming strength and decide to call for reinforcements. The man smirks confidently, his intense eyes radiating menace. He urgently alerts the group to the arrival of others. Two figures crouch in the tall grass with blades drawn, preparing to ambush. Two men crouch in the tall grass, lying in wait with tense, watchful expressions. A shadowy armored figure crouches in the tall grass, preparing to ambush. Several armed figures lurk in the grass, closing in on the lone target in the clearing. A furious leader commands his armored group to rush forward and pursue their target through the tall grass. A hostile group charges toward the injured player, eager to claim his items. Youngmin assesses the situation and prepares to use a new ability with a confident smirk. A determined young man urgently activates a powerful item, launching a sharp projectile. Armed figures suddenly look up in shock as a glowing shard falls from the sky. A man in armor reacts in shock as a wide-area spell is unleashed. A massive pink bird is hit by a sharp blue ice shard and cries out in pain. 3 people stagger and clutch their ears in pain as an unbearable noise fills the field. The protagonist reacts in disbelief, questioning if that was all. An empty field stretches out under the soft light, setting a quiet and expectant mood. Startled, the young man recoils as 2 armed soldiers suddenly emerge from the tall grass. 2 alarmed figures stare forward as they suddenly realize a critical truth. A monstrous beast with glowing red eyes lunges, knocking the panicked character backward in shock. The lone figure is ambushed and surrounded by a large group of armed attackers. 2 armored characters realize with alarm that they have triggered a mob-luring item. A group of armored fighters are ambushed and wounded by vicious monster wolves. A gloved hand triumphantly holds up a glowing blue crystal after successfully activating its magic. He explains that the item attracts all nearby monsters with its wide-area taunt effect. The monstrous beast recoils in pain as a devastating blow lands. A determined combatant swings his sword at the attacking wolf-like creature. With urgency, the group is ordered to focus on dealing with the mobs first. A fighter delivers a powerful kick to an enemy while chaos erupts and others scramble to restrain someone. A determined man charges forward, aggressively swinging his staff with resolve. Crouching in the tall grass, the protagonist confidently draws his daggers and activates stealth mode. An enemy suddenly activates a stealth skill, catching the protagonist off guard. A nervous man urgently commands his group to use a wide-area skill to expose the hidden enemy as a huge monster towers behind him. Youngmin charges at the armored men on the forest path, catching them off guard. A man urgently warns others to chase someone who is escaping around the back. Startled, the character quickly recalls the strategy to target the priest first and prepares to act. A character is punched in the face, sending blood flying from the impact. A fierce kick lands squarely on the opponent's face, sending blood flying as the attack connects. With a forceful swing of his staff, the protagonist knocks back 2 attackers. Youngmin rushes forward and urgently yells at his teammate, demanding help for the dying healer. A surge of energy bursts from the enchanted sickle as its power is unleashed. A gloved fist smashes through the glowing magical barrier. Youngmin charges fiercely as his opponent activates a magical barrier for protection. A determined attacker strikes the glowing magical barrier, but it remains unbroken. The attacker's fist smashes into the magical barrier, sending cracks spidering across its surface. A character reacts in shock as the thick barrier breaks unexpectedly. Youngmin is struck hard in the face by a glowing punch, screaming in pain. Youngmin strikes his opponent with a forceful punch, sending blood flying. A bald, muscular man urgently warns the group that someone is targeting the priest. The group quickly forms a defensive circle around the priest as danger approaches. Youngmin dodges the attack and strikes back while airborne. A large, muscular opponent slams Youngmin with a massive hammer, knocking him back. Youngmin unleashes a powerful kick that sends 2 opponents flying during the intense outdoor fight. He unleashes a relentless assault, swiftly overpowering multiple opponents with powerful kicks and punches. Armed men shout commands and prepare to immobilize their target before launching a rapid attack. He assesses the dwindling enemy forces, realizing the fight remains difficult. A character clenches their fist with determination, energized by the excitement of the challenge. Youngmin activates the Bloodlust skill, instantly doubling all his stats as he faces his armed opponents. Youngmin gathers his energy and launches forward with a powerful charge. With a single, devastating sword strike, Youngmin blasts several armored enemies into the air. A sudden, forceful punch lands as the character attacks his adversary with intense determination. The protagonist charges forward, launching a surprise attack on 3 unsuspecting enemies along the forest path. 2 armored fighters exchange rapid sword strikes in a heated outdoor duel. Blurry streaks of pink and blue slice through the scene as a rapid strike is unleashed. Youngmin quickly prepares to defend himself as 2 armed attackers rush at him from behind. One character charges forward with a weapon as another urgently orders them to block the attack with their body. A heavily armored man raises his shield to block as an attacker prepares to strike from behind. Youngmin charges forward, rallying his allies with a fierce command. Youngmin drives his fist into the armored opponent, sending him crashing backward. A determined young man charges forward, preparing to strike. A fierce kick slams into the armored opponent's shield as the special attack is unleashed. A fierce attack sends one character crashing painfully to the ground. He grins fiercely and raises his arm, preparing to face the challenge ahead. 2 characters count aloud as one pulls a weapon on the other in the tall grass, escalating the confrontation. He braces himself as he realizes the overwhelming number of enemies still remain. Youngmin drives his fist forward in a powerful, aggressive attack. With a fierce grin, Youngmin rallies his team to launch a decisive attack. A furious man steps forward and threatens to personally take down the newcomer after mocking his challenge. Bracing for action, the character readies to dash forward with sudden speed. Collapsed on the ground, Youngmin desperately reaches toward the distant group of shadowy figures. Youngmin charges forward with determination, urging action. Youngmin crashes forcefully into the ground, shaking the area with explosive impact. A system notification announces that the Bloodlust effect has ended. A system message announces that all stats have returned to normal. A system warning appears as the hunger gauge reaches its maximum level. A warning notification appears, alerting that the thirst gauge has reached its maximum level. Youngmin launches himself through the air, catching his opponents off guard with a sudden attack. A system notification warns that all stats will gradually decrease. He reacts in shock to the sudden development. A system message announces that the Bloodlust effect has ended, leaving him stunned. Youngmin is struck hard across the face, his head snapping to the side from the sudden blow. A character sprints urgently through the grass as a minute has already passed. He quickly calculates that about 40 people are still left. Surrounded by enemy troops, including priests and wizards, the protagonist quickly evaluates the overwhelming threat. The group braces for a final attempt as the castle wall begins to collapse. The protagonist accepts the risk of dying and prepares for what comes next. Youngmin silently contemplates his next move, his expression tense and focused. The protagonist stands over a shocked, kneeling opponent, taking control of the confrontation. Realizing the opponent's skill has ended, the man prepares to take advantage of the opening. A figure in heavy boots lands with force, sending debris flying across the ground. Youngmin abruptly senses a threat nearby, his eyes widening with unease. Someone acknowledges the other's impressive skills. A confident armored man steps forward and announces that this is not a knight's tournament, challenging the expectations of the gathered fighters. A dismissive warning is issued to someone lacking faction protection. A character smirks menacingly and raises a finger, exuding confidence under a harsh spotlight. He pauses, trying to make sense of this unfamiliar concept. One character shares concerning news about the split guild, causing another to grow wary and thoughtful. He clenches his fists and decides to fight for his life. A magical projectile streaks through the sky toward the castle. The group spots fireworks bursting in the sky and quickly realizes they might be a distress signal. A young man mocks his challengers with a smug expression, dismissing their actions as foolish. A group of archers fires a coordinated volley of arrows. A sudden ambush erupts as arrows rain down on the calm figure standing in the forest clearing. A massive explosion rips through the forest, scattering debris in every direction. A man in armor boasts confidently about his upcoming promotion. A group advances behind large shields through swirling dust. A character is caught off guard, reacting with shock to an unexpected situation. A volley of arrows crashes into the sturdy shield wall, halting their advance. A group of armored soldiers with glowing red eyes advances in formation, wielding spears and shields. A group of soldiers spots vigilantes approaching the fortress and reacts in shock. A stern armored guard confronts an aggressor, warning them not to harm the village's hero. The protagonist confidently challenges a group of powerful, red-eyed enemies. He quickly assesses that his opponents all have an average level below 70. One figure confronts the other in the misty forest, demanding an explanation for the reported failure. A shocked character reacts to the overwhelming strength of his opponent, suspecting something unnatural. An angry man with glasses furiously orders his team to forget about promotions until the target is captured. 2 figures in a misty clearing discuss their plan to ambush the target when he reaches level 70 in the guild. A wary character explains that there are multiple ways to proceed, such as engaging in PK once the level limit is removed. A startled character reacts intensely to an unexpected threat nearby. Youngmin considers his next move as the situation shifts from scouting to revenge. A figure suddenly appears and catches 2 startled enemies off guard. One character confidently points out a direction, while another expresses gratitude. Youngmin anxiously confronts someone, demanding to know when they started watching. A character pauses, weighing how to begin outlining his next move. Youngmin stands alone in the forest, silently weighing his next move. Surrounded and accused, the protagonist rapidly creates clones of himself in a cloud of smoke to escape confrontation. Realizing they have been watched in stealth mode from the start, the two men grow tense and frustrated. Youngmin demands an answer, glaring defiantly at his opponent. Youngmin encourages the other person to share their plan and suggests moving forward to the island. He suppresses his anger and decides to calm the situation by offering some decent-looking items. Youngmin rejects additional compensation, boasting that his inventory is already full from the recent PK rewards. One man proposes joining the other side for higher profits, while another panics as scandalous online headlines about guild corruption spread. Youngmin celebrates after successfully stealing a large sack of gold and valuable scrolls. Youngmin warns the anxious man to accept the consequences for breaking their agreement. A character proposes that the group head back to the village. The story shifts to a peaceful village surrounded by hills and greenery. A red armored hand suddenly grabs Youngmin's arm, catching him off guard in front of the building. An older man with a white beard addresses the hero with reverence. The village chief appears unexpectedly and commands the fulfillment of the ancestors' wishes, leaving the adventurer confused. Youngmin stares at the glowing quest screen, realizing he has received a new mission. A new quest appears, challenging the player to pass Hilo's test and claim his legacy. A character suddenly connects the village name with the legend of the 10 heroes and realizes something important. Youngmin jolts in surprise as he sees something unexpected on the glowing blue tablet. Long ago, 10 heroes defeated the Demon King and brought peace to the world. 6 legendary heroes are introduced as they appear with dynamic poses and magical effects. 3 elite heroes are introduced, each revealed with their title and dramatic effects. The protagonist confidently announces a powerful technique as wind swirls around him. The map reveals that this village shares its name and legendary status with famous cities. He looks up at the sky, anxiously questioning the sudden arrival and struggling to understand what he must do next. An older man offers to guide someone through the village. A peaceful forest stretches out beneath a clear sky, with a large tree standing before distant mountains. The young man hesitantly asks the older man if he knows about Master Helos. A villager explains that their village is named after Helos, one of the 10 heroes who once protected them. A young man solemnly announces that only someone worthy may inherit the legacy as sunlight streams through ancient pillars. An elderly man declares that if the trial is overcome, its victor will inherit part of his power. He contemplates testing the power of one of the 10 heroes. A determined figure raises a glowing gem, preparing to unleash its power. An older man hands something to Youngmin and points out a direction for him to follow. Suddenly, the tense moment is interrupted by a forceful objection. After 5 minutes of searching the forest, nothing has appeared. A sudden light glows from the character's chest, catching him by surprise. A portal forms in the forest as the Cave of Trials entrance opens. Youngmin realizes he cannot leave the Cave of Trials until the quest is finished or abandoned as energy surges around him. He raises his glowing hand, blue energy crackling as he activates his power. The protagonist arrives at a glowing portal in the forest, surprised by the quest's strict rules. The protagonist steels himself as the trial begins. Youngmin sprints away as a massive explosion erupts behind him, narrowly avoiding flying debris. A massive door suddenly appears from the dust, startling the protagonist. Youngmin pushes forward urgently, determined to reach the end as he approaches the final obstacle. A powerful energy blast hurls the young man backward. The protagonist sprints down the stone hallway, closing in on the destination. Youngmin dashes toward the brick wall as the countdown timer rapidly ticks down. As the countdown timer nears 0, a determined figure lunges forward in a desperate attempt to beat the clock. Sensing danger too late, the protagonist snaps his head around in alarm as something rushes past. The countdown timer hits 0 as debris erupts through the air, escalating the tension. The stone wall shakes as smoke and dust explode from a powerful impact. A digital screen announces the successful completion of the second stage test. Youngmin collapses onto the rubble-strewn floor, breathing heavily after a grueling struggle. Youngmin wipes sweat from his brow, struggling to process the shocking actions of Helos. Following the instructions to walk on water, the protagonist charges across the massive wave as explosive energy builds around him. Youngmin dodges a relentless wave of deadly traps, analyzing their timing to break through the chaos. Youngmin glares forward suspiciously, questioning if the situation was set up deliberately while another character smirks behind him. Youngmin clenches his red glove, determined to confront Helos. A tense character urgently insists they leave immediately. Youngmin suddenly turns at the base of the stone staircase, reacting to something unexpected. Youngmin discovers a temple-like structure and examines it with intrigue. Youngmin stands at the base of the steps, carefully counting the illuminated statues of the heroes. A digital message announces the start of a 10-minute survival test, leaving the character confused and alert. A shocked protagonist recoils as a large, shadowy figure suddenly looms over him. Youngmin blocks an attack with a powerful swing of his massive black weapon. Youngmin reacts in shock, his face tense and anxious as he silently processes what just happened. The protagonist launches himself at the monstrous enemy, initiating a fierce attack as debris scatters from the impact. Flung backward through the air, Youngmin reels in shock at the overwhelming speed of the attack. A massive dark barrier crashes into the scene, sending debris flying everywhere. Debris hurtles down as he panics, realizing he is in immediate danger of being crushed. He leaps through the air, smashing apart the flying rocks in his path. The protagonist clenches his teeth in frustration after encountering a setback. Youngmin launches himself at the giant stone creature, crashing into it with full force. Youngmin drives a powerful kick into the armored opponent, forcing a pained reaction. The attacker realizes their strikes are ineffective against the stone creature. He quickly realizes his critical hits are useless and searches for another way to win. Caught off guard, the protagonist reacts as 2 armored enemies confront him, one lifting a spiked mace. A glowing notification announces that the second statue has awakened. An armored figure grips a spiked mace, preparing for an imminent confrontation amid swirling smoke and light. He suddenly realizes something shocking, his eyes wide with alarm. A massive spiked mace crashes down, launching a panicked figure into the air amid flying debris. Realizing the threat of multiple statues awakening, the protagonist panics as debris flies around him. A gloved hand surges with blue electricity as its owner hesitantly prepares to release their power. A figure unleashes a massive explosion, sending shockwaves through the shattered ground. A fierce blast of blue lightning surges through the cathedral-like space as the protagonist unleashes his power. Blue lightning crashes through the ruined structure, creating a chaotic diversion. An armored figure with glowing red eyes steps out of the smoke, scanning the area. Surrounded by smoke, Youngmin vaults over the railing in a desperate escape. A figure suddenly emerges from the debris, eyes sharp and alert. Two figures clash swords in a fierce battle, their movements sending smoke and energy through the air. With a burst of strength, he swings his weapon in a decisive attack. A surge of blue energy erupts as a fierce attack is unleashed. A massive, electrified spiked mace slams into Youngmin, hurling him through the air. A fierce clash results in both opponents taking damage from each other. A massive spiked mace smashes through stone debris with explosive force. Two characters assess the situation in the smoke-filled hall, noting that 7 enemies remain. She scans the smoky battlefield, urgently assessing how to eliminate the remaining threats. The third statue comes to life, signaling a significant change in the situation. A sudden threat rushes toward him, and he recoils in shock. As arrows shoot through the stone corridor, the protagonist swiftly dodges to avoid the deadly trap. A startled figure quickly grabs an arrow from the quiver, readying for action. A female archer releases her arrow with unwavering focus. The protagonist quickly recruits an approaching archer for assistance. Youngmin responds with determined confidence, ready to take action. The protagonist sits triumphantly atop the rubble of defeated stone guardians, surveying his victory. A level up notification appears, signaling the achievement of level 70. The protagonist is shocked to see his level jump to 70 after passing all the trials and receiving multiple level up notifications. A digital notification announces the acquisition of the powerful Hero Slayer achievement, and its significant stat boosts. Youngmin realizes that the statues are treating him as a hero. The speaker abruptly shifts the conversation to a new topic. A character dashes forward with urgency. Someone urges the group to keep moving forward. The protagonist advances alone toward a mysterious, dimly lit door, anticipation building with each step. 2 mysterious metal rings emerge from the dark, mist-shrouded wood. The large wooden doors burst open amid a cloud of smoke. Youngmin cautiously peers through the cracked door as mist rises around him. A worried character questions if the trials are truly over. Youngmin studies the situation carefully, considering his next move. Someone admits feeling exhausted after maintaining concentration for a long time. Youngmin quickly turns as a door creaks open behind him, sensing a sudden intrusion. A torch bursts into flame against the stone wall, casting sharp shadows. Sensing danger, the protagonist abruptly turns, visibly startled. Someone realizes the true identity of a mysterious individual. Youngmin scans the shadowy hallway, alert for any sign of danger. The protagonist freezes in shock as he suddenly realizes something alarming. Youngmin freezes in shock, realizing something critical. Youngmin stands his ground as a massive stone creature attacks, sending debris flying. A character is stunned by a sudden realization, eyes wide with shock. Youngmin recoils in shock, raising his hand defensively as he reacts to an unexpected revelation. A massive stone creature crashes down from above, forcing the protagonist to recoil in shock. Youngmin clenches his fist in frustration as another disaster unfolds amidst the ruins. Youngmin charges at the giant statue as it reveals a glowing red object in its hand. A character examines a glowing red gem, noting its resemblance to the one given by the village chief. A digital display reveals the dangerous and powerful abilities of the Gale inscription. Youngmin hesitantly reaches for the glowing red crystal, determined to try the mysterious power despite his uncertainty. A gloved hand urgently reaches for the glowing red gem. Youngmin recoils in shock as a mysterious red energy erupts from his chest. A surge of berserk energy overwhelms the user, threatening to damage his body and disrupt his control. Despite reaching the maximum level for the region, he rushes forward, anxious and unsure if he is truly prepared. Desperate and sweating, the protagonist pleads for permission to use the item he obtained. Youngmin releases a surge of blue lightning energy at his opponent in a desperate attack. Blue energy crackles across his face as he experiences a sudden surge of power. A notification appears as the nature's body effect activates. A supernatural force absorbs the power of the Gale inscription. A gloved hand crackles with energy as it slashes a weapon through the air in frustration. A gloved fist crashes down with explosive force, unleashing a devastating attack. A digital notification announces the acquisition of the Gale inscription. The protagonist successfully activates nature's body and feels proud of the result. System notifications announce massive boosts to agility, movement speed, wind resistance, and movement-related skills. A notification appears, indicating that a new skill called Gale has been acquired, dramatically increasing movement speed for 30 seconds. Youngmin flexes his arm and celebrates feeling noticeably lighter and more agile. A hidden class notification appears, offering the option to change to the descendant of Hilo's class. A system notification announces that a higher tier class has already been acquired. A system message informs that the class change to descendant of Hilo's has been automatically cancelled. Someone questions whether a higher tier class exists that surpasses even the hero class. Youngmin examines the glowing artifact, weighing its significance. Blue lightning crackles as Youngmin raises his hand, summoning a mystical bird above him. A surprised character examines a mysterious object, realizing it might be another reward item. A digital interface reveals the abilities of Talaria's mark, highlighting its agility boost and the double jump feature when attached to shoes. The protagonist discovers the ability to double jump, reacting with excitement as magical energy surrounds his fist. A hand quickly attaches the glowing Talaria's mark to a red boot, preparing to test its power. A character wearing winged boots prepares to test their abilities after landing on the ground. The protagonist stands over a defeated opponent, preparing to deliver a decisive blow. A character launches forcefully into the sky, leaving a vivid trail behind. A red shoe launches forward in a swift, powerful kick. He spins rapidly through the air, experimenting with his new ability. He charges forward with determination toward the grand building. He steels himself, mentally preparing for a confrontation with Helos. Youngmin decides to let the issue go, smirking with amusement. A greeting is presented to the reader. The Martial Guild is introduced as a new location. Youngmin examines the skill book to discover which new abilities he has unlocked after reaching level 70. Youngmin reviews the available skills, decides some are unnecessary, but chooses to acquire them all for now. Youngmin stands confidently as the muscular man in the background raises his hands in surrender. An object is abruptly pushed toward Youngmin, startling him. The protagonist launches into the air and spins, striking all nearby enemies with a powerful whirlwind attack. Youngmin activates his offensive stance, boosting his attack power as he launches a powerful high kick. Assuming a defensive stance, the fighter increases his defense power as debris and smoke swirl around him. Youngmin reacts with surprise as he realizes something important. Someone recognizes the stance as the same one demonstrated by the martial god previously. The two celebrate their victory, filled with joy and confidence as sparkles surround them. Someone reflects on the immense power of the martial god, noting that despite being an NPC, he is truly formidable. Youngmin steps outside, surveying the area with a confident smirk as light shines around him. Driven by ambition, the protagonist considers studying martial god to gain even more strength while another figure stands nearby, exuding a mysterious aura. Someone reacts in shock upon learning that another person has already reached level 70. Youngmin sits slouched on the couch, ignoring the urgent question directed at him. Youngmin sits on the couch, speaking into his phone as he explains that he's been hunting, completing quests, and taking down pikers. Lena calls to ask about the fight with the pikers, noting they were defeated. While sitting on the sofa and talking on the phone, one character confidently promises to help the other level up quickly by providing a boost when they return to Korea. He listens on the phone, confused by the mention of a party bus. One character explains the importance of forming a party for quests, while the other admits he skimmed that part of the instructions. Two people discuss the need to join party quests as one expresses reluctance to work with others. Youngmin browses the internet at his desk while talking on the phone before going to bed. Someone offers a brief farewell, expressing concern for the other's well-being. A hand hovers over a ringing smartphone as an incoming call interrupts the moment. Lena notices her brother's uncharacteristic enthusiasm and grows curious as she checks her phone. Lena beams as she reads a message on her phone. A character feels satisfied after seeing the positive outcome of their recommendation. A determined hand clicks the computer mouse with focused intent. He processes the critical information about the 10 heroes, preparing for his next move. Someone stares at a computer screen packed with overwhelming information. The protagonist reads about the legendary 10 warriors who defeated the Demon King. A popular story titled, Descendants of the 10 Heroes, is shown with over 6 million views. In Final Saga, certain individuals are known as the descendants of the 10 heroes. Two determined individuals, one gripping a glowing red crystal, are revealed as top-ranked inheritors who gain their abilities through completing quests. Only two of the four revealed heroes, the Holy Knight and the Saintess, are currently active. Youngmin reflects on his decision to cancel the hidden trials, wishing they had suited a martial artist. A character speculates about the potential of the martial arts class due to the lack of available information. As he searches online, he discovers a file named Capture231.jpg that might contain information about the martial god. He examines his empty hand in confusion, wondering why nothing appeared. Youngmin grows irritated as he wonders if he must search alone. He sighs and wonders if tomorrow will bring any new opportunities. Several tall apartment buildings stand quietly under a clear sky, setting the scene. A glowing quest window appears, announcing the main quest to leave the beginner region and begin a true adventure. Someone announces they are looking for a party. A group gathers at the misty tunnel entrance, preparing to cross as someone asks for a healer to join. Youngmin considers taking on the quest alone while others nearby question his chances. A cautious figure steps forward on the cracked, smoky ground, questioning if this place is an instant dungeon. Youngmin enters the instant dungeon alone, confident that no one else can interfere. A massive force crashes down toward Youngmin, scattering light and debris as he braces for impact. A massive orc charges forward, forcing Youngmin to brace himself for another fierce battle. A red object crashes down with immense force, sending debris and energy flying. A fierce combatant lands a powerful, high-speed blow on a large green opponent, splattering blood. He notices a shift in the situation and reacts with excitement. The protagonist leaps away from the giant green monster's hand, narrowly dodging its snapping jaws. The character analyzes the enemy's response to his attack, noting that it reacted even without dodging. A destructive blast of dark energy erupts, filling the area with debris and smoke. Realizing a crucial truth, the protagonist's face tightens with determination. Someone realizes that the situation has changed from before. A notification announces the achievement of Novice Adventurer status, granting all stats +2 and prompting the start of a new adventure. After completing the challenge, the protagonist stands confidently in the corridor and notes that it ended quickly with disappointing rewards. He focuses intensely, steeling himself for the confrontation ahead. A monstrous green creature ambushes two terrified people as they desperately try to escape. Someone excitedly displays a selection of plump fruits and white rice. A large sign marks the arrival at Photon City amid an industrial haze. The protagonist steps into a crowded market filled with vendors loudly advertising fresh meat and fish. An armored man confidently brandishes a golden weapon while a burly figure stands behind him. The protagonist enters Photon City, notices the variety of player equipment, and decides to look for a quest. A wooden signboard creaks above the entrance, signaling something ominous. A man warmly greets the newcomer upon entering the Adventurer Guild. Young Min firmly announces his intention to accept a quest. The attendant confirms it's the newcomer's first time at the Adventurers Guild and begins to explain the process. Someone assigns the first quest. He examines the mysterious scroll with a slight smirk, ready to learn what it contains. Young Min examines the scroll and wonders if the first quest is predetermined. The protagonist realizes the quest requires a party. Feeling annoyed by the added complication, Young Min stares downward in shock, visibly anxious as he reacts to something unexpected. A digital quest notification assigns a new party mission requiring dungeon completion for guild registration and experience points. A thick, mysterious mist settles over the village square as townspeople move cautiously through the haze. Young Min is suddenly startled by something unexpected. Someone urgently calls out for a tank to join a team for the Cursed Skull dungeon. A determined leader urgently calls out in the town, seeking a healer over level 90. A masked man calls out for a wizard to join a mission into the harsh hills, while a cloaked figure listens nearby. He scans the party listings and realizes there are no groups looking for a damage dealer. Young Min quickly turns with alarm as dark shadows signal an approaching threat. In the crowded street, one character urgently calls out to recruit another, demanding to know if there are any specific conditions. A cheerful young woman enthusiastically asks to join the group. He spins around, visibly startled by an unexpected shock. One character recoils in shock upon realizing the other is actually a damage dealer. A determined girl calls out to the tense boy, making it clear that the next challenge will be difficult. Someone calls out loudly to get the attention of a person who is walking away. A character in a witch hat invites someone to join the party. Two characters discuss the difficulty of the Flower of Adventure quest in the town square. A group of adventurers offers to help clear the quest. Young Min stands outside in the village, visibly relieved as he expresses his gratitude. A confident man offers an invitation to join the party while another figure observes quietly in the background. A system message announces that the player has joined the party. A tense handshake signals that someone is being denied entry to the private party. Young Min questions whether the private party prohibits revealing identities. Two people prepare to set out together, confident that their familiarity with the area will make the task quick. The group pauses at the entrance of the ancient ruins, agreeing to keep their introductions brief as they prepare to enter. Footsteps echo through the grand marble hall as someone enters. The protagonist steps into the trial dungeon, immediately questioning if it is an instant dungeon. He spots the monsters and shouts a warning in alarm. A horde of red-eyed monsters surges toward the group as someone urgently warns everyone to be careful. He clenches his fist and steels himself, unfazed by the challenge of the ancient dungeon. Someone urgently shouts for another person to stop and not take any action. He studies the situation closely, preparing for his next move. Someone reacts with confusion to an unexpected situation. Two determined figures step forward, ready to resolve the situation themselves. Young Min hesitantly accepts help in the ornate room, feeling uneasy about the situation. A menacing figure blocks a forceful sword strike as sparks fly in the heat of battle. She unleashes a surge of magic, preparing for the battle ahead. An archer fires an arrow at the creature's approaching hand. A massive number of items cascade from above, creating chaos. A shower of rare loot and magical items erupts into the air after the enemy's defeat. One character collects glowing loot from a defeated enemy while another questions if experience and items are obtained individually. He confidently decides to focus on clearing the quest. He stares ahead, tense and deep in thought, weighed down by worry. A man grins with a manic, ominous laugh. Someone challenges the other to proceed, raising the tension. Young Min steels himself, his expression focused and determined as he prepares for the challenge ahead. A determined man forces open a massive, glowing golden door as ominous mist swirls around him. A group of adventurers gaze up at a towering, dark structure with a glowing orb as it suddenly appears before them. Someone instructs the listener to focus on the top of the pillar. A gloved hand points sharply upward, signaling the next move. A character points out that destroying the crystal will clear the dungeon. A glowing purple crystal appears above a stone pedestal, signaling its importance to clearing the dungeon. A protective shield blocks normal projectiles from reaching the target. A determined archer draws his bow and prepares to take a decisive shot while another character watches closely. Arrows strike the glowing tower but fail to penetrate its defenses. Young Min inspects the smooth column and realizes it will be hard to climb. He explains that the dungeon remains uncleared because of its difficulty. The protagonist realizes there is a contradiction in what was previously said about clearing the area. A warning is given that attacking the crystal will prevent any chance of retreat as bones assemble ominously under a red sky. Several high-level undead skeletons burst from the ground, shrouded in dark mist. He realizes with shock that all the defeated monsters have returned as undead. A character explains that normal escape scrolls are useless in this dungeon, and only a special escape scroll allows escape. A confident man in a leopard print coat presents a document marked with a mysterious magic circle. A man taunts his opponent about lacking power while radiating glowing green energy. Someone is shocked to discover an item that may have dropped in the dungeon. Realizing a hidden strategy, the protagonist connects the recent individual kills to a suspicious motive as others examine a pile of treasure. A woman tears a magical scroll in half with a sly smile, activating its power. A figure with blue hair surges forward, unleashing a sudden burst of glowing energy. He clenches his jaw, struggling to control his anger. Massive skeletal feet slam down onto the fractured, smoky earth as new threats arrive. A group of skeletons bursts onto the scene, shrouded in mist and energy. Someone reacts with surprise, sensing something significant is about to be revealed. He braces himself with fierce determination as snow or debris falls around him. Someone angrily shouts an insult at the partygoers. A defiant boy glares at his adversaries and threatens revenge as a smug group stands behind him. A horde of skeleton warriors charges forward, escalating the threat. A warning is given that the passage ahead is blocked by undead. He grips his collar and steels himself for the challenge ahead. The undead skeletons try to cross over but are unable to advance. A figure enters a vast chamber and gazes up at a glowing gem perched on a tall, smoke-shrouded pillar. He assesses the towering obstacle, realizing even an explosion might not be enough to overcome it. Youngmin suddenly remembers something important. Youngmin charges forward at high speed, launching a fierce attack. Surrounded by flames, Youngmin stands resolutely before the mystical obelisk in the vast domed chamber. A foot slams into the ground, sending a surge of fire and energy erupting outward. Youngmin thrusts his fist forward and unleashes a powerful explosion. A gloved hand stretches desperately toward the glowing crystal as energy swirls around the pedestal. A blade slashes toward his face, forcing him to react instantly. The protagonist launches himself into a crucial jump through the smoky grand hall. The protagonist leaps down through swirling smoke toward the glowing purple crystal. The glowing pink crystal is finally obtained, radiating energy above the pedestal. A gloved figure seizes the glowing crystal with both hands. The protagonist grins triumphantly while holding a glowing pink crystal. He stares in shock as the crystal in his hand suddenly glows. Kneeling in the mysterious chamber, Youngmin seizes the glowing artifact as energy surges around him. Eerie laughter echoes through the smoke-filled ruins of the ancient stone structure. 3 characters laugh together as they mock someone who was just defeated. A smug man grins and taunts a newcomer. 2 startled characters look up as an unexpected sound interrupts the moment. 3 characters scramble to escape as massive chunks of stone crash down inside the collapsing temple. The ancient temple collapses in a violent explosion of debris and dust. A powerful explosion sends dust and debris shooting into the sky. A massive stone structure crashes to the ground, sending dust and debris flying. A lone figure crouches behind a glowing blue barrier on a ruined pillar, taking refuge from the surrounding destruction. Someone lets out a sigh of relief. Hovering above the rooftop, he concentrates and harnesses a glowing energy orb as blue energy swirls around him. Shielded from a deadly blow, the protagonist kneels amid the wreckage, catching his breath. A gloved figure releases a surge of magical energy from a handful of glowing purple powder. Youngmin absorbs the swirling life energy, gaining the ability to heal and unlocking a new achievement. A character is astonished as he reads the skill window revealing a new ability that heals his HP when he hits a target. A character in red boots charges forward at high speed, kicking up dust. A character crouches defensively and dodges a powerful attack as debris flies around. Frustrated by a setback, the protagonist realizes he must find new party members. The group arrives at the site, surveying the ruins of the vanished structure. She braces herself, anxiety evident as she faces what comes next. He scans the devastated battlefield, alert for any remaining threats. It is revealed that only the Saintess's descendant can handle the item, identifying Esna as the chosen one. She clenches her fist, struggling to control her frustration. A furious outburst erupts as a wall shatters from the surge of anger over a stolen skill. A barrier shatters, sending debris flying in all directions. A woman smashes through a massive stone barrier with a glowing punch as a man watches her with a confident smile. With anger burning in her eyes, the character swears to hunt down her enemy and ensure he suffers. He smirks defiantly, exuding unwavering confidence in the face of pressure. The group quickly decides to move on, uneasy about being seen. A team is sent to search the nearby hunting grounds and villages for the missing Saintess token. A figure studies a glowing tablet on the riverbank while eyeing a small wooden boat nearby. Youngmin studies the glowing digital tablet outdoors, intrigued by its display. A quest notification appears, assigning the mission to defeat the 5 calamities threatening Photon City. Youngmin looks at the digital screen and reacts with disappointment after encountering an underwhelming field boss. The item description reveals that the Goblin Shaman's protective necklace grants powerful defensive and stat-boosting abilities when equipped. The protagonist studies a glowing device and prepares to face the next boss at the transparent lake. Youngmin searches the area, intent on finding the lake spirit. Something crashes into the water, breaking the tense silence. With unwavering determination, he dashes forward. A sudden splash in the water signals the arrival of an intruder. A threat of punishment is declared as the lake water splashes violently. A powerful blue-haired figure rises from the water, confronting the shocked onlooker. Youngmin spots the target with a determined look. A blue-haired woman screams in terror as energy bursts around her. A character activates a glowing, high-tech interface over their eye. A powerful declaration is made, signaling a crucial turning point. A hand lunges forward with urgency, driving the action to a critical point. A blue-haired, aquatic figure blasts Youngmin with a powerful surge of water. He activates the glowing HUD interface again with renewed determination. A targeting reticle locks onto the character's chest, indicating a threat is aimed from a close distance. He swings his arm with force, releasing a surge of blue energy toward the threat. A gloved hand seizes the glowing, energy-filled orb. A fist surges forward, shattering through blue liquid with a burst of energy. A quest screen appears, showing that 2 out of 5 calamities in Photon City have been defeated. Blue energy bursts from Youngmin's chest as he activates his hidden power. A magical ring with a blue gemstone reappears, prompting a startled reaction. He inspects the glowing accessory, wondering why the field bosses seem to collect them. A gloved hand lifts a jeweled ring, its surface catching the light. A glowing text box lists the magical effects granted by wearing the ring imbued with the lake's power. A shocked character realizes the ring allows underwater breathing. Someone hesitates, unsure about where to place the item. A figure steps to the riverbank as water splashes around them. He evaluates the outcome and concludes that the situation has ended in a draw. A person crashes into the water, sending up a massive splash. Ripples spread across the lake as the surface is suddenly disturbed. He sinks deeper into the water, powerless to resist. A sudden splash of water hits his ear, catching him completely off guard. A character focuses intensely as magical energy gathers around him, preparing to activate his power. Amidst swirling debris and darkness, Young Min witnesses the ancient structure collapsing underwater. He stares in amazement at the newly discovered mystical portal. He steps closer to the glowing portal, drawn in by its mysterious energy. A digital notice confirms the discovery of the ruined temple of the lake. A hidden temple is uncovered, and a character examines it with magical energy shimmering in his hand. With determination, he prepares to enter. A character crashes down onto the ground, unleashing a burst of rainbow energy. He reacts with shock, his anxious eyes wide as he realizes something critical. Young Min discovers a giant air bubble inside the ancient chamber. Young Min turns in surprise as he notices an old, partially open door shrouded in mist. A player receives the Rare Explorer title after discovering a hidden temple, gaining new stats and bonuses. Driven by suspicion, the protagonist rushes up the misty stone stairs, desperate to uncover more hidden secrets. Young Min stares breathlessly at the glowing ring on the pedestal. A character discovers a glowing golden bracelet resting on a stone altar marked with mysterious runes. A digital display reveals the circlet of purification's powerful magical abilities and bonuses. Young Min excitedly examines the golden circlet and realizes it's an epic item. Young Min examines the glowing golden artifact with a tense expression. The protagonist discovers an epic tier artifact and reacts with astonishment inside the ruined cathedral. A character excitedly shows off a sparkling golden crown, celebrating the impressive find. Suddenly disoriented, he clutches his head as strange symbols appear above him in the darkness. Two figures react tensely as swirling red energy signals a sudden, unexplained anomaly. Two figures stare in shock as their peaceful village suddenly transforms, revealing a burning castle in the background. Peace continued without interruption, giving the impression it would last forever. A hooded woman is shocked as she recognizes a smiling blonde woman with a glowing circlet in the crowded street. Young Min examines the glowing circlet and questions its original ownership. A foreboding event is introduced as the narrative references the day the calamity appeared. An explosion rocks the village as dark buildings tremble beneath a red sky. A force called the calamity is introduced as something that initially appeared harmless. Strange symbols fall from the dark sky, casting an ominous energy over the village. Darkness swiftly engulfs the village as the inhabitants flee in panic. The survivors collapse in agony as a deadly curse eats away at their flesh. The bodies of the calamity's victims are left behind in the darkness. Countless tormented souls remain trapped and restless, unable to find peace even after death. The warriors struggle but ultimately fail to overcome the powerful enemy. The enemy retreats as the power of purification surges through the night sky. The devastated land bears the lasting scars of destruction. The circlet's power of purification is revealed as the only way to erase the aftermath of the calamity. The circlet rejected them and would not grant its power. A once great building stands in ruins, its former glory lost to time. Two hooded figures ascend the misty staircase, approaching the new owner of the circlet of purification. A robed figure carefully places a glowing golden circlet onto the altar as part of a solemn ritual. A massive surge of blue healing energy bursts forth, purging the remnants of disaster from the world. Resolute in his mission, he vows to save those who are suffering. Young Min processes the new information, coming to a serious realization. A glowing quest window appears, presenting a critical mission to purify the remnants of an ancient disaster for significant rewards. Young Min notices that the number on the digital display has decreased and realizes it reflects information from the past, excluding the spirits of the lake. Someone wonders aloud what a chronicle quest is. Frustrated by the challenging English assignment, he glares at the glowing tablet in his hands. Young Min clenches his fist and resolves to defeat all his opponents. Young Min jerks back in shock, crying out as something startles him. A blade slices past, forcing him to jerk back in alarm. Overwhelmed by a powerful sense of déjà vu, the character struggles with rising frustration. A character is suddenly overcome by shock and panic. A sudden burst of water floods the area as the air bubble collapses. Gripping the glowing artifact, he desperately tries to force it under his control. A colossal blue energy blast tears through the building, obliterating everything in its path. A figure bursts onto the scene, descending rapidly through a cloud of dust. He sits in the grass, catching his breath after escaping as he urgently calls for support against the new threat. He realizes in shock that the Screaming Lord is actually one of the remnants of the disaster. The protagonist urgently realizes that being late could prevent the quest from being completed. Amid rising tension, someone urgently commands the healers to focus their support on the tank. As the monstrous creature roars, the determined leader urges everyone to hold on and promises victory if they endure a little longer. A leader urges the group to attack the giant stone creature, but fear grips one member, causing hesitation. Sensing imminent defeat, the protagonist urges everyone to retreat. Two armored figures tense up as the monster starts to act. A monstrous stone beast unleashes a terrifying scream that inflicts a fear status abnormality. A man is suddenly struck by a burst of red lightning energy and clutches his head in pain. Red energy crackles around him as he unleashes his power. A monstrous stone face emits a fear-inducing roar, inflicting the abnormal status of fear. A man screams in pain as red energy violently assaults his head. Red energy surges around him as he unleashes his power with fierce determination. The protagonist launches powerfully upward through the clouds, breaking into the open sky. A chaotic surge of mysterious energy interrupts the sword fight, forcing the fighter to brace against the attack. A fighter dodges a monstrous enemy's massive hammer and prepares to strike back. A fierce fighter unleashes a devastating, lightning-charged strike, his eyes glowing red with power. Startled, he reacts intensely to a sudden revelation. He kicks the beast with force as a giant ornate weapon slams down nearby. An ornate hammer spins violently through the air. A surge of blue energy erupts as a character launches a powerful attack. A massive electrified stone block slams into the ground, hurling the young man violently through the air amid flying debris and lightning. Young man catches his opponents off guard, leaving them shocked and angry. A deadly elemental attack called Death activates as dark spectral faces surge through swirling magic. Dark energy engulfs the monstrous enemy as the protagonist stands firm, marking the defeat of another calamity. Two men react in shock after witnessing the Wailing Monarch's defeat with a single blow. Three nervous characters react anxiously, sweating as one responds hesitantly. The effect activates, and the protagonist reacts with a confident smile. A character is startled as a green patterned cloth falls awkwardly over his head. Youngmin examines a mysterious cloak left behind after the boss fight. A character cautiously approaches and examines an ornate green object under the darkening sky. A rare item, the Cloak of Lamentation, suddenly drops, causing a surge of excitement. A character urgently commands another to snatch something as the situation escalates. Someone lunges at Youngmin and tries to snatch the ornate cloth bundle from his grasp. A desperate struggle erupts as the characters fight fiercely to seize a crucial item. A figure aggressively forces several people to leave, shoving them back. He glares with irritation, criticizing the others for their lack of skill. A group of armed attackers charges forward, threatening to kill their target and steal the cloak. Youngmin confronts his armed enemies and demands they hand over what he wants. With a confident smirk, the character prepares to test the Cloak of Lamentation as green energy glows behind him. He urgently unleashes a powerful skill while clutching a glowing object. A menacing aura erupts from the center figure, causing the surrounding shadows to recoil in fear. With determination in his eyes, he prepares to unleash his hidden power. A shadowy, monstrous figure radiates dark energy as someone struggles to resist its overwhelming force. A game-like alert notifies that the status abnormality, fear, has been triggered. Amid the smoke and debris of the ruined building, a desperate survivor pleads for help. Mysterious floating shards appear over the village as the sky fractures above. He states that only 2 calamities remain as he checks the digital quest panel outside the ancient ruins. A supernatural skunk with glowing red eyes appears in front of a ruined stone building. A menacing armored beast suddenly appears, wielding a massive rune-engraved hammer amid swirling mist. He quickly calls for backup after spotting the Wailing Monarch, knowing the situation may not be as favorable as before. Someone considers immediately pursuing an easy target. He steels himself, ready to face the upcoming challenge. The poison choker is introduced as a monster that emits poison. A giant skunk releases a thick, toxic purple gas across the area. A thick cloud of deadly poison spreads from the poison choker, contaminating the air and endangering everything nearby. The skunk releases a powerful poison that cannot be cured with basic antidotes or ordinary magic. The poison choker is difficult to hunt because it is extremely skittish. The enemy ignores provocation skills and continues to spread poison. A giant skunk unleashes a burst of foul spray by the wooden bridge, filling the area with chaos. The text box explains that the ability does not work when there are too many people or when the opponent's level is high. A hidden creature waits in the bushes as 3 people walk down the path. The narration explains that the optimal number of hunters is 2. A sinister black cat with glowing red eyes emerges, exuding an ominous presence. 2 characters brace themselves as they confront a powerful beast. Young Min confidently asserts that he can overcome any obstacle. Something moves above, causing the tree branches to shake. A surge of ominous purple orbs erupts beneath the stone arch as an animal recoils in shock. A pile of glowing purple fruit is revealed amid swirling dark mist. A strange, multi-eyed creature drools as it fixates hungrily on something off-panel. The monstrous badger is lured and trapped by the purple fruit bait. A desperate hand reaches out toward the swirling purple energy. A gloved hand forcefully seizes an opponent by the hair, intensifying the confrontation. Youngmin launches himself onto the black beast, attacking with fierce determination. A figure is hurled into the river with immense force, splashing water everywhere. A sudden blow slams the character to the ground, sending debris flying. A gloved hand lunges menacingly toward a shadowy figure as purple energy crackles in the background. A sudden burst of poison gas knocks a character backward, triggering panic. A digital notification appears, alerting the player to a poisoning status. A monstrous creature suddenly appears, radiating a menacing aura. A terrified figure is knocked to the ground as a monstrous bear with glowing eyes attacks. Youngmin lies unconscious on the grass, surrounded by flowers and mist. Someone suddenly realizes the attack is just a diversion. The protagonist lies wounded on the grass but smirks with determination as energy flares nearby, showing he has endured the attack. He resists the poison trap, leaving his enemy stunned. A powerful purification spell erupts from the sacred artifact as the protagonist acts with determination. A surge of green magical energy erupts through the jungle foliage. The group pushes deeper into the jungle as sunlight glimmers through the dense canopy. A digital message confirms that the circlet of purification has cured all status ailments. A notification announces that the poisoning status has been cured. Youngmin strikes the monster with a powerful punch, sending it crashing through debris. A quest notification panel reveals that 4 out of 5 calamities threatening Photon City have been vanquished. Someone cheerfully expresses gratitude to Circlet. He smirks confidently, ready for what comes next. Only one calamity remains to be faced. A defeated skunk lies still as dark energy swirls above its body. A skunk unleashes a cloud of toxic gas, filling the area with an unbearable stench. A character crashes violently to the ground, surrounded by a cloud of dust and debris. A startled character freezes as a skunk suddenly sprays a cloud of mist nearby. Youngmin watches uneasily as the creature begins to revive. A skunk sprays noxious gas as a purple orb crashes into the grass nearby. The beast pushes forward through the mud toward the glowing purple orb. Youngmin braces himself outside the building, ready for a difficult confrontation over the prize. A gloved hand seizes the glowing purple orb, signaling a crucial turn in the struggle for power. Someone makes a firm decision to proceed. A powerful item called the Essence of Poison is introduced, offering a significant boost to poison resistance when consumed. The protagonist hesitates, reluctantly holding the glowing purple orb as he realizes he must consume it. Despite his discomfort, Youngmin puts the glowing orb into his mouth. After forcing something down, Youngmin gains a 10% boost to his poison resistance, and notes the unexpected minty taste. The scene shifts to a desolate building surrounded by forests, signaling a change in the story's direction. Youngmin considers the challenge of the remaining field boss and worries about when it will reappear. The final and most powerful calamity monster, the Giant of Ruin, appears, drawing fierce competition for its valuable drops. Someone estimates that the next event will occur in about half a day, checking the time on a digital watch. The protagonist decides to reach level 100 to unlock the next map and plans to complete achievements for faster progression. Several achievements are completed, and the player reaches level 88. Grateful for the strategy guide, the protagonist reflects on how it made things easier and plans to thank the supporter later. Youngmin tests his enhanced strength, feeling more powerful than before. She admits she isn't ready to confront the martial god. The protagonist reflects on the overwhelming power of the rankers, who are said to be able to defeat dozens of players at their levels simultaneously. He looks up with a confident smile, eager for the challenge posed by the strong competitors. An urgent broadcast announces that the Giant of Ruin has appeared and demands immediate reinforcements at Woolbourne Plains, causing everyone in the village street to react with alarm. The protagonist urgently calls for the map, his face tense with alarm. The protagonist strikes the large stone tablet and commands it to enlarge. An armored guard suddenly blocks the way, forcing everyone to stop. A warning resounds, stopping any further advance. The group notices another threat appearing near the castle as tension rises. Two armored guards confront someone outside a medieval castle, taunting them to join a guild. Youngmin glances around warily, sensing that something is seriously wrong with the people nearby. Two furious men confront someone off-panel, demanding answers and venting their anger over being excluded. A suspicious figure is confronted as rumors spread about the guild monopolizing the area near the tower. A heavily armored guard blocks the fortress gate and warns the intruder that any attempt to enter will be met with force. Youngmin grows frustrated as he realizes the enemy appears at random, making it impossible to plan an effective attack. A hooded man threatens to reveal someone's identity while taunting his hesitant opponents. Startled, the protagonist quickly turns his head to react to something unexpected in the sky. Youngmin confidently confronts the group and snaps a spear with his bare hand. Two armored guards threaten someone, warning against reckless action. A watchful figure notices someone suspicious approaching the ruined structure. With urgency, he warns that any beginner who rushes in will only get killed. Someone suddenly realizes something important. A mysterious cloak surrounded by blue energy is revealed to be the Cloak of Lamentation. A surge of fiery energy erupts as the protagonist unleashes a powerful attack. Two spear-wielding opponents ambush him as dark energy erupts around his body. He recoils in terror as blue energy engulfs him, succumbing to a sudden state of fear. A dark force slams into the protagonist, leaving him writhing in pain. A commanding figure orders the assassination squad to attack as dark shapes rush forward through flying debris and blue energy. Someone shouts a victorious affirmation, signaling a moment of triumph. An armored knight swings his weapon down at the terrified figure, who recoils in fear. Youngmin swiftly dodges a deadly attack as a weapon narrowly misses him and debris scatters. A dark armored figure jolts as a red light bursts from its helmet. A bold taunt is issued, escalating the tension. He steels his resolve, preparing himself for the challenge ahead. A powerful voice erupts with a harsh insult, filling the scene with tension. A clenched fist crackles with blue electricity as power rapidly builds. A red-gloved fist crashes into an opponent, sending him reeling from the forceful blow. A gloved fist bursts through the stone wall, shattering it with a surge of energy. Weapons and armor drop to the ground as a result of the death penalty. A character confidently grabs a magical dagger, pleased with the results of their efforts. Youngmin inspects the glowing digital artifact and recognizes its usefulness. Two guards watch suspiciously as Youngmin walks past the stone wall. An armored character confidently prepares to attack after noticing the opponent has exhausted all their skills. An armored archer releases a volley of arrows from the battlement. A character delivers a harsh remark about someone's lack of skills as a tip chair lies nearby. Youngmin grins with intense confidence, his expression sharp and self-assured. Someone harshly criticizes another for being predictable and boring. Dodging a hail of arrows, the agile figure leaps in front of the collapsing wall. With a fierce grin, he unleashes a devastating triple-slash attack. Someone reacts in shock to an unexpected event. A surprise aerial kick catches the armored guard off guard in the heat of battle. An armored fighter unleashes a crushing kick that sends an opponent reeling. Dodging a hail of arrows in midair, the character evades a deadly attack with swift movements. A furious man in battle gear draws his bow, swearing vengeance for his injured friend. Someone acknowledges the instructions with determination. A figure in a red glove plummets rapidly through the bright sky. A man in a helmet recoils in alarm, sweat streaming down his shocked face. The assertive character returns the item to its owner. A masked character is knocked back by a powerful blow, scattering debris through the air. He taunts his opponent with a menacing statement. Youngmin steps forward and demands to know who will face him next. Two anxious soldiers realize they have no chance after witnessing the PK squad's defeat. Youngmin surveys the scene, preparing to face new opponents. A shocked figure suddenly realizes the unexpected enemies have appeared. A giant with a massive hammer advances on the terrified soldiers as chaos erupts around them. A character stares wide-eyed in shock, realizing something alarming. A giant hammer plummets from the stormy sky, crashing down with tremendous force. Two armored guards panic and shout about the leaf attack while a young man looks back cautiously. A massive explosion hurls several armored figures through the air as rubble and debris scatter across the scene. Someone shouts a warning to run from the incoming leaf attack. Youngmin appears anxious as he processes a troubling realization. A critical deduction reveals that the situation has advanced to Phase 2. The mechanics of the Giant of Destruction are explained, detailing its 3 distinct phases based on remaining health. A powerful figure slams a massive spiked hammer down in front of the cathedral as energy beams streak through the sky. The white-haired figure unleashes a wild hammer swing, smashing stone in its path. He focuses intently, analyzing the threat of the enemy's leaf attack that can trigger a dangerous earthquake. The third phase begins when its health drops below 10%, causing its defense to weaken but its attack power to double, making it extremely dangerous even for experienced tanks. The enemy unleashes both the leaf attack from Phase 2 and a new twisting attack that sweeps the area with wind. A white-haired man slams a massive hammer into the burning castle, sending debris flying. The narration explains that mastering aggro distribution and timing recovery is essential for achieving victory. He studies the situation in silence, formulating his next move. A tactical assessment notes that high DPS could end the fight quickly. The current health of the enemy is estimated to be between 11 and 49% based on it remaining in Phase 2. Youngmin urgently commands a defense as a magical barrier absorbs a powerful attack. A narration box warns that failing to contribute enough may result in missing out on rewards. The protagonist confidently claims the task is simple while eyeing the digital screen. Someone plots to eliminate those with the highest contributions. One soldier suddenly shivers with unease as the patrol continues through the twilight forest. A determined figure strides into the courtyard and confronts 2 startled guards. 2 armored guards prepare to intercept an intruder in the tense corridor. He sizes up the spear with confidence, ready to test its potential. A masked figure launches a sudden mid-air attack in a dramatic outdoor confrontation. Youngmin swiftly dodges the spear attack and taunts his opponent about their lack of control. Youngmin swiftly evades a sudden, fast-moving attack. A hooded man angrily swings his weapon through the bushes, searching for his hidden opponent. A determined fighter lands a powerful kick on a masked opponent armed with a staff. The fighter grips the wooden staff tightly as sparks erupt from the clash. A helmeted attacker lunges forward with a spear, aiming to deliver a fatal blow. A gloved red fist slams into the helmeted man's face, sending him reeling from the force. The protagonist resolves to eliminate the guild members monopolizing the hunting grounds to advance in the contribution rankings. A dark fist crashes down with explosive force, delivering a final blow. Youngmin reacts in panic, overwhelmed by the sudden turn of events. Youngmin reels as a devastatingly powerful attack strikes him with overwhelming force. A glowing symbol descends from the night sky and crashes into the wooden building. A victory message announces the PvP win and notifies that an item has been dropped. A figure crouches near glowing artifacts while 2 others watch from afar, suspicious of his intentions. He grips his sword tightly and swears to retaliate. The cathedral is consumed by raging fire as debris crashes down amid the chaos. The Giant of Ruin unleashes a devastating attack, forcing the soldiers to retreat in chaos as their main tank is instantly defeated. A gloved figure retrieves a staff from the misty grass, inspecting it curiously. Youngmin grips the spear with a confident smirk, ready to put his skills to use again. He steels himself, determination clear in his narrowed eyes. Youngmin rushes forward at top speed, evading enemy attacks as flames blaze behind him. A determined fighter launches a fierce kick at his opponent as the sun sets. Youngmin charges forward with a blood-stained spear, eager for a new kind of battle. A massive weapon crashes down, obliterating the debris with overwhelming force. The older man clenches his teeth and struggles in agony as a powerful force overwhelms him. Youngmin brings his blood-stained sword down with force, striking the blue creature. An older man unleashes a furious roar, his eyes glowing red with rage. A white-haired man endures a surge of pain as glowing symbols swirl around him. A mysterious symbol appears, hinting at something unknown. The man suddenly feels a wave of healing energy revitalizing him. Surging with renewed energy from the healing, the protagonist prepares to unleash a powerful attack with his electrified sword. Youngmin demands the Giant of Ruin to handle the minor enemies while he radiates a fierce blue energy. The older man struggles to withstand the pressure, as he quickly complies with an order. A character shouts desperately, overwhelmed by panic. One fighter recoils in pain while the other panics as their lethal attack fails to work. Amid a chaotic battle, a desperate fighter is overwhelmed as armored figures are hurled against the castle wall. As chaos erupts on the battlefield, a frustrated fighter shouts about the collapse of the team and the damage dealer's failure as enemies close in. A panicked fighter warns the group that they must redirect the enemy's attention to avoid being wiped out and buy time. A confident figure reacts to the overwhelming power displayed by the Giant of Ruin. Youngmin stands over his defeated opponent, gripping an electrified weapon and mocking the fallen PK fighters. The speaker declares the end of the support mission and signals the start of the main objective. A blood-stained dagger surges with blue lightning, signaling the activation of a powerful weapon. Youngmin urgently commands an explosion. A hand hurls a mysterious artifact crackling with blue energy, triggering a powerful explosion. A crackling surge of blue lightning erupts from a wrapped arm, signaling the start of a powerful attack. A deadly elemental attack is unleashed as blue lightning erupts and a figure rushes forward. A deadly aura engulfs the giant of ruin. A character is hurled backward through the air by a sudden, powerful force. Youngmin crouches with a confident smirk as he attempts to activate a rare ability despite its extremely low chance of success. A voice confidently guarantees the success of the plan. The major quest is completed, and the system instructs the protagonist to claim the reward at the Adventurers Guild. A system notification announces the successful completion of the Catastrophe Purification quest. A game notification reveals the quest has changed from Cleansing the Catastrophe to Fragment of Calamity. Youngmin freezes in shock as he suddenly realizes something unexpected. A catastrophic quest notification appears, ordering the defeat of a powerful entity to prevent the world's destruction, while a character reacts with skepticism. Characters anxiously watch as dark, swirling clouds gather in the sky, signaling an impending disaster. The lingering effects of the disease catastrophe are merging into the present, unveiling the ancient origins of the calamity. A dire warning reveals that defeating the disease catastrophe is the only way to save Photon City from a global disaster. A new rule is announced restricting entry for new users into Photon City. A world quest appears, tasking players with defeating the disease catastrophe to prevent the destruction of Photon City and unlock major rewards. Someone reacts with frustration to the announcement that an important world quest will take place in Photon City. One character voices dissatisfaction with the plan to recruit guild members using alternate characters in Photon City, while another listens beside them. He realizes the quest burden is not unique to him, leaving him frustrated and deep in thought. Someone resigns themselves to a situation. He steels himself, eyes burning with determination as he prepares for the challenge ahead. He braces himself and rushes forward, determined to take the initiative in the conflict. An ancient map emerges from the darkness, hinting at a forgotten memory no one can trace. The land still echoes with the terror and devastation of its tragic past. Long-lost memories begin to resurface. A massive vortex of water is summoned in an effort to restore lost power and authority. A foreboding declaration echoes through the ruined, shadow-filled buildings. A nervous newcomer approaches the Adventurers Guild building. He hesitates, caught off guard and uncertain as he prepares to respond. The character completes his transformation, standing confidently as energy swirls around him. A masked young man dismisses the shopkeeper's suggestion to try different equipment after learning there are no stronger options available in the village. The masked young man firmly asks for information about the catastrophe. Someone firmly acknowledges the instructions given. A character studies the map and reveals that the disease catastrophe is moving through the rotten forest. The name of the forest on the outskirts of Photon City is revealed. The monsters inhabiting that area are weak because their bodies are rotting, but nobody attempts to challenge them. A monstrous, fanged bear emerges from the dark, foggy forest, signaling a deadly threat to anyone who enters. Worried about the escalating threat, the masked figure strategizes urgently in the forest, while a skunk keeps a cautious distance. A masked young man urgently activates a red, glowing object in the dim room. A person slides a closed, ornate box across the table toward the surprised recipient. A solemn ceremony unfolds as the ornate hero's medal is presented in recognition of remarkable achievements. A prestigious hero's medal is obtained, granting powerful bonuses and increased reputation. Wearing a mask, the protagonist gives a cheerful thumbs up to express gratitude. The group enters the dark forest as sunlight struggles to pierce the dense canopy. A massive purple monster crashes its foot to the ground, sending dust flying. A shadowy figure darts through the chaos, leaving debris in its wake. A wounded foe collapses after being struck by a darkly glowing sword as a panicked call for a healer echoes through the chaos. Collapsing from the poison, one character desperately demands the antidote as the situation grows dire. He stands resolute, assessing the situation as his shattered mask exposes his determination. A monstrous, shadowy creature appears, matching the vision seen in the temple. He realizes the poison's strength and reacts with frustration. A massive purple monster threatens to destroy Photon City, forcing the group to act quickly before it reaches the village. A red-booted foot slams down with force, emphasizing the intense moment. A monstrous shadow strikes, sending the protagonist flying and inflicting a disease that lowers all attributes. A monstrous, shadowy hand grabs the protagonist, who grimaces in pain while relying on the circlet of purification to resist the disease's power. A determined fighter unleashes a powerful wind-charged kick attack. A monstrous purple creature strikes the protagonist with such force that he is sent flying. A character in red boots charges forward with urgency. A character raises a glowing circlet, preparing to counter the threat of disease. Two rivals fiercely struggle for control of the ornate sword, tension crackling between them. The disaster of disease singles out its target and launches an attack. The protagonist charges forward, launching an attack against the shadowy monster in the forest clearing. Youngmin glares fiercely and accuses someone of being quick-tempered. Startled by something unexpected, the protagonist freezes with wide, tense eyes. Shocked by the sudden revelation, the protagonist realizes that a mysterious disease is affecting all life on Earth. A dark tendril suddenly strikes, causing him to recoil in pain. A gigantic purple monster suddenly appears, catching the protagonist off guard. Youngmin clenches his jaw and prepares to make a crucial decision. He charges forward through the dark energy, urging everyone to head toward the lake near the rotten forest. Youngmin charges forward, dodging shadowy tentacles as he risks everything on his plan. A glowing blue orb appears in the empty space, radiating an ominous energy. Shadowy creatures suddenly ambush from above, launching glowing blue projectiles as the protagonist recoils in shock. A powerful woman emerges from magical water, warning of punishment for contaminating the lake. A hand unleashes a surge of crackling blue energy, sending water droplets floating through the air. A hand surges with blue energy and fires glowing projectiles forward. Glowing projectiles blast into the monstrous mouth with explosive impact. A massive explosion erupts, scattering debris and energy throughout the area. With confident determination, he confirms that everything is proceeding according to plan. The spirit of the lake launches an attack against the disease. Someone encourages the group to fight well. A massive surge of water violently erupts upward, overwhelming the scene. A hand carefully pours a healing potion into the injured person's mouth, bringing visible relief. He quickly drinks a potion, buying himself a moment to recover. The character realizes that despite the disease's entire body being a weak point, physical attacks are ineffective. Energy surges as the protagonist activates his hidden power. Elemental attacks are tested against the demon, but high mana costs make fire skills unsustainable for prolonged combat. He quickly analyzes the threat using his futuristic HUD interface, realizing purification alone is not enough. A monstrous, shadowy entity engulfs a helpless woman as physical attacks prove useless against the disease. He formulates a plan to address the disease, smirking confidently as he thinks. The protagonist urgently activates his healing ability, commanding the power to cure. Youngmin activates his analytical vision to assess the opponent's immunity to physical damage. Elemental attacks are assessed for effectiveness against the monster, with concern about high mana consumption if the fight is prolonged. He quickly analyzes the futuristic interface and suddenly notices something unexpected. A monstrous purple creature clings to the dazed girl, emitting smoke as she sits helpless. Realizing physical attacks are useless against the disease, the protagonist considers switching to a more effective strategy. With determination, he activates his healing power. With fierce determination, the protagonist unleashes an elemental attack. A gloved arm surges forward, breaking through dark energy with a forceful healing punch. The protagonist unleashes a powerful force that overwhelms the monstrous figure. A fierce fighter launches a rapid barrage of attacks against a shadowy opponent. The monster recoils in pain as it is struck. The diseased monster shrinks as the effects of the disease blur vision. Clutching his shoulder, he struggles to endure the sudden, intense pain in his joints. Youngmin learns that his strength will weaken unpredictably because of the disease, leaving him frustrated. A critical narration reveals the impact of the disease. A gloved hand tightens its grip as the tension builds before a decisive action. A surge of energy erupts from his hand as he unleashes a powerful purification attack. A determined fighter unleashes a powerful, glowing slash against the monstrous creature. A monstrous figure threatens to curse the human, but the challenger defiantly urges it to try. Youngmin defiantly challenges his opponent to prove their strength. Youngmin is hit hard, caught off guard in the chaos of battle. A shadowed figure launches a lightning-charged purification attack at an enemy in midair. Dark clouds gather above the tranquil meadow as a storm approaches. A vast field of white flowers and tall grass is revealed. A system message announces that the quest to defeat the calamity of disease is complete. A glowing notification announces a 30,000-point reputation increase. After completing the quest, the character receives a surge of contribution points, multiple rare items, and an achievement. A status screen reveals the Ring of Calamity's legendary abilities and its absorbed power. A ring and a scroll tied with a yellow ribbon are revealed in a dramatic burst of light. A digital window reveals a crucial clue about the calamity that destroyed the ancient empire. A character examines a mysterious document with unreadable script, noting that auto-translation does not work and suspecting there is another way to interpret it. The protagonist examines the ancient document, deducing that translating its language may be the key to the next quest. Another option being considered is to ask an NPC who understands ancient language. The protagonist quickly decides to head back to the village. Someone urgently asks when the disease will appear. A peaceful village with guard towers stands quietly under the clear sky. Two unseen individuals anxiously discuss rumors of an unknown threat approaching after causing total destruction elsewhere. Three armed figures tense up as something unexpected happens near the misty building. The group reacts with shock as they realize the quest has suddenly vanished from the clipboard. Several people crowd around a stone doorway, eagerly discussing the recent defeat of a powerful opponent and speculating about the massive reward. A crowd member points at Youngmin, exposing him as the center of attention while he remains calm. Someone suddenly realizes they recognize a person. The crowd singles out the scarred man, accusing him of being the last one standing in the fight. A masked figure questions whether the calamity of disease has been defeated. He hesitates, uncertain about his answer. Someone demands the clue of calamity and offers a generous reward in exchange. Youngmin firmly rejects the guild invitation on the street. Two desperate men frantically try to outbid each other with promises of greater rewards and rare items to convince the protagonist to give up something valuable. Surrounded by urgent offers and promises of rewards, the anxious character struggles to handle the pressure. Visibly frustrated, he angrily lashes out at the group for their lack of consideration. Two young men tense up as they spot a rival off-panel. A hostile figure swings an axe at Youngmin, demanding compliance as he stands his ground. A gloved figure draws a sword crackling with blue energy, ready for action. A powerful lightning bolt crashes down from the stormy sky. A masked attacker strikes down a girl with a large axe as a shocked bystander looks on amid a burst of lightning. A furious character confronts the aggressor, demanding an explanation for the attack. A figure stands over two opponents who have been subdued by a powerful electrical attack. Youngmin spins around in shock as he realizes Rachel is present. A high-ranking swordswoman, revealed as an executive of a top guild, stands poised for action with her electrified weapon while others react to her true identity. Outside the building, one character warns the other not to use real names in the game after receiving praise. The two exchange playful banter, each insisting they could have handled the recent trouble on their own. He asks when she will join his guild. He announces that he wants to play alone for now. She firmly warns that joining other guilds is not allowed. With a calm resolve, he asks for a favor. Someone asks what favor is being requested. He declares his intention to learn how to interpret martial god, elemental, and ancient language. Someone is surprised as her brother asks her for a favor. She smirks confidently, sensing she has the upper hand. A character reveals they have a lead on deciphering the ancient language. Someone receives unexpected news as a white dove flies over the village. She explains that she previously met an NPC during a quest. Someone suggests seeking information from an archaeologist named Timura in Photon City. Lena offers to write a recommendation letter and urges the protagonist to report back on their quest progress. Youngmin reacts with surprise and defensiveness to an unexpected request. One character hurriedly explains themselves and prepares to leave while the other agrees to see them at home. A system interface prompts the user to advance to their first class after reaching level 100. Someone silently reflects on their surroundings, feeling unsure despite the excitement around them. Youngmin closely inspects the glowing tablet, searching for important information. A notification appears, confirming the first class advancement has been achieved. A system notification announces a class advancement to Elemental Warrior and awards additional ability points. Blue electricity bursts from his arm as he releases a powerful attack. A surge of power erupts as the seal of the Elemental Master is released by one level. A digital display reveals the impressive stats and abilities of the legendary gloves. He evaluates the results of his recent upgrade, feeling confident as blue energy crackles nearby. After reaching level 100, the confident character suggests moving on to a more exciting place. A carriage pulls up to the grand building, stirring dust into the air. Youngmin sits alone in the vehicle, visibly irritated as he complains about the game's unnecessarily long travel time. The protagonist complains about being bored and wonders why no bandits have appeared. The protagonist urgently questions the panicked coachman as news of strong bandits attacking outside causes chaos. A group of bandits prepares to ambush travelers, eager to seize valuables. A glowing quest notification appears, announcing an urgent mission to protect the carriage and coachman from attackers. Surprised by an unexpected appearance, the protagonist reacts with disbelief. Two figures struggle to calm the panicked horses as chaos erupts near the carriage in the forest. A group of armed bandits ambushes the carriage, sending its passengers into a panic. Three hostile figures approach, with the central one brandishing a blade. A figure stomps the ground with determination, sending dirt flying. Youngmin steps in front of the carriage and confidently announces his arrival. Two men react with shock and suspicion to the unexpected reveal. Youngmin smirks and remarks that the journey has been boring. A fist clad in a red armored gauntlet crackles with blue lightning as a new skill is activated. Youngmin activates his berserk skill, surrounding himself with powerful mana energy in preparation for battle. A sudden burst of power slams into the ground, sending shockwaves through the area. Two men react with shock as they witness something unbelievable. A figure rushes at two surprised opponents with incredible speed. Electric energy crackles as Youngmin charges directly at the boss, startling the armed enemies. A powerful bandit leader steps forward, radiating menace as his presence dominates the scene. A muscular attacker launches a powerful punch, striking the other character as electricity crackles through the air. A furious man launches a forceful punch, threatening to defeat his opponent in a single blow. A fierce warrior unleashes a powerful double slash with his sword, energy swirling around him. Youngmin urgently leaps aside to evade the incoming blue energy blast. A figure swiftly dodges a powerful attack amid intense motion. Youngmin swiftly dodges a dangerous attack. A massive explosion rips through the forest, shattering trees and rocks. Youngmin lands quickly on the forest floor, bracing himself to dodge an incoming attack. Panting anxiously, he realizes that blocking the attack with his gauntlet would have destroyed his arm. The protagonist surveys the destruction in the forest, realizing the impact of surpassing level 100. A muscular, armored figure brandishes a glowing, smoky weapon with a menacing grin. An enraged man harshly scolds his unseen opponent for underestimating his strength. The protagonist confidently suggests continuing the negotiation in the forest. A heavily armored opponent charges forward, threatening to attack as the protagonist stands ready with electric energy crackling around him. A fighter charges forward and releases a devastating double energy slash. A character charges forward at high speed, striking the ground with force. Youngmin quickly ducks to evade a fast, glowing energy attack. Youngmin drives a rapid, forceful punch into his opponent. He charges forward, urgently instructing his allies to prevent the enemies from launching a combo attack. An overwhelmed man recoils in fear, shocked by his opponent's unexpected power. Sensing an opening, the figure prepares to strike at the vulnerable target. A charged fist slams into the man's chest, unleashing a surge of energy. The overpowered man coughs violently, struggling to recover as desperation fills the scene. A determined fighter lands a forceful blow to his opponent's chest, catching him off guard. Youngmin surges forward, his fist crackling with electricity as he launches a powerful punch at his opponent. Crackling with electric energy, he slams his opponent into the ground with overwhelming force. A muscular man launches a fierce uppercut punch at his opponent. A man is struck by a powerful, electrified force from above, his body convulsing in pain. A determined fighter lands a powerful upward kick, sending his muscular opponent flying back. The boss is hurled through the air as the others watch in shock. The boss is knocked down, leaving the onlookers in shock. He clenches his electrified fist and smiles, impressed by his own power. Youngmin taunts his opponent, while electricity crackles around his gloved fist. A terrified group turns to flee, retreating in panic from the threat. A digital reward screen appears, signaling a completed achievement. Young Min receives an achievement notification for defeating a robber barehanded in the forest. The protagonist announces that everything is settled and urges the group to move forward, startling a hooded figure nearby. A vast ancient city has emerged around the ongoing excavation of a colossal relic, drawing in archaeologists and treasure hunters. A grand medieval city with a towering castle comes into view. Excavating artifacts individually is allowed, attracting fortune seekers to the area. Two cloaked figures move together through the crowded medieval town toward a distant castle. An eager man offers to guide a tall, green-skinned woman to the best shops in town. Someone calls out to the protagonist in the crowded marketplace, making him turn around in surprise. A character approaches another in the marketplace and asks for information about the area. A confident young man boasts that he knows everything about Sangkan City and invites questions. The protagonist urgently asks for the whereabouts of an archaeologist named Taimu. One man struggles to recall an important detail while another waits nearby. He pauses, contemplating as he tries to recall someone he recognizes. A sly-looking blonde boy deflects questions with a vague excuse while a wary red-haired young man watches him in the busy market. He hands over several gold coins, and she accepts them with a satisfied smile. He hints that Taimu lives outside Sangkan City and will be difficult to locate. Young Min pays the vendor, who offers to guide him for a higher price. Someone hesitates at the edge of an unclear forest path, uncertain if they are going the right way. Two people move cautiously through the dense forest, questioning why an archaeologist would be there instead of at the ruins. Young Min glares suspiciously while issuing a stern warning. The group arrives at a new location in the forest as one character urges the hesitant protagonist to look ahead. A hidden treehouse is revealed high in the ancient forest. Two people search the forest, anxiously calling out for someone named Taimu. A cheerful figure announces the arrival of a guest in the forest, while another person stands quietly nearby. Two people stand in the forest, debating how to climb a massive tree to reach someone above. A character points upward and explains that they need to wait for a ladder to be lowered from above. Someone grabs the protagonist from behind, catching him completely off guard. He sprints through the forest with her in his arms as she cries out in fear. A man leaps through the air at high speed, carrying a frightened woman away from the treehouse. A decisive figure forcefully kicks a frightened man off a ledge while descending rapidly. A startled character sits on the ground, clutching their chest and struggling to catch their breath after a frightening scare. Someone opens the door to check the source of the noise outside. Young Min suddenly tenses as he notices something unexpected. A cheerful young man greets Mr. Taimu with a bright smile. An elderly archaeologist notices the arrival of two visitors at the doorway. A red-haired newcomer is introduced to an elderly man by a cheerful blonde boy at the bottom of the stairs. An older man is startled as he confronts an unexpected visitor. The standing figure presents a crucial folder to the older, seated man. A cautious old man scrutinizes the newcomers outside his house, holding a document tightly. An older man discovers something shocking on a mysterious document. An elderly man recoils in shock as he discovers something alarming in the document. Young men and the boy tense up as they react to something unexpected happening nearby. An elderly man struggles to make sense of a paper filled with cryptic symbols. The two sit together in tense silence, visibly stressed and uncomfortable. An older man examines a paper, recognizing it as Rachel's handwriting, and questions the visitor's purpose. Young men ask for help deciphering an ancient language in the forest. A grand, celestial-themed library is revealed, filled with stained glass and a glowing chandelier. Candlelight reveals rows of orderly binders and books on the shelves. Three tense figures huddle over maps and documents, urgently planning their next move before they are discovered. An elderly man examines a glowing magical scroll, realizing it tells of an impending disaster. Young Min reacts in shock upon hearing about a disaster. A catastrophic event known as the disaster led to the collapse of the ancient human empire. The narration ominously foreshadows the imminent reveal of the person responsible for the disaster. A towering, horned figure surrounded by flames appears, revealing the Demon King. The defeat of the Demon King was accomplished by 10 heroes. He wonders if the quest is connected to the 10 heroes. No quests connected to the 10 heroes have been found yet, except for job change quests. Young Min suspects that something has been deliberately hidden. An older man with a monocle pauses, preparing to reveal an additional crucial detail. Young Min freezes in shock in the kitchen as something unexpected catches his attention. The disaster disappeared but left its seeds scattered across the world. Malevolent spirits rise from the ground, feeding on negative energy and threatening to destroy the world. An alarmed elder urgently warns the group that the followers of the disaster are targeting something important, and insists they must act to stop it. A quest notification appears, outlining objectives to track the disaster's followers and promising a valuable ring as a reward. Young Min urgently demands to know the identity of the followers of the disaster while examining a digital screen. An elderly man reveals that a group has been kidnapping archaeologists and stealing their research to revive a looming disaster. He explains that the kidnappers' actions suggest they still lack the knowledge to trigger the full disaster, but the threat of a world-ending event is imminent. Young Min eagerly anticipates a major scenario event, believing it will bring significant rewards and experience. Young Min clenches his fists as energy swirls around him, determined to face the looming danger. An elderly man with a monocle confidently announces that he has discovered a way to infiltrate the enemy base. A new quest appears, instructing the protagonist to collect 100 evil black stones to infiltrate the enemy base. The protagonist examines a new subquest that requires earning trust from Taimu. A reluctant character receives a quest to collect evil black stones from zombies in the stinky forest. One character urgently orders the hesitant kid to lead the group into the stinky forest, startling them. Unable to guide further, the nervous character offers a green, leaf-wrapped item to help with survival. The protagonist forcefully declares his reluctance to go. A hazardous area called the Stinky Forest, infamous as a slum, is revealed. An abandoned hunting ground offers valuable experience and rewards, but its foul smell has driven people away. A glowing green substance bubbles intensely, signaling a powerful reaction underway. Monstrous zombie-like creatures rise from the toxic green swamp. A character steps cautiously toward the glowing green pool. Frustrated, the protagonist pinches his nose and grabs the glowing slime, forcing himself to continue the unpleasant quest. A hand examines the glowing mint slime piece, wondering if it will work. He bites into the glowing green object, bracing himself for the consequences. A gloved hand quickly seizes a detoxifying mint herb as its leaves scatter. A character in red gloves suddenly coughs up green liquid into their hand. Youngmin exhales in relief as the green smoke clears around him. A monstrous foot crashes to the ground, scattering debris in all directions. The protagonist spots the newcomers arriving and gets ready for what's next. A group of high-level stinky zombies lurches forward, oozing green slime across the barren ground. A surge of electricity explodes as a devastating kick crashes down on the humanoid figure. A monstrous figure is sent flying as a powerful punch lands squarely on its face. Youngmin braces himself against a fierce energy blast as debris scatters around him. Youngmin recoils as he endures the unbearable stench filling the air. Electricity crackles around him as he braces himself to endure the unpleasant conditions and get ready for action. A powerful strike shatters the ground, scattering debris in all directions. The hero charges into the monstrous horde and unleashes a devastating electrified attack. A devastating, lightning-charged punch crashes into the crowd of monstrous enemies. The explosive blow lands, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. Youngmin charges forward and unleashes a powerful attack with full determination. With a swift spinning attack, the protagonist knocks down 3 monstrous enemies at once. A surge of energy erupts as multiple level-up notifications signal a rapid increase in power. He surveys the battlefield, realizing he has killed nearly 100 enemies. The evil black stone is acquired amid a scene of devastation. A gloved hand picks up another evil black stone from the ground, frustrated by slow progress, the protagonist questions if there is a better method while examining a smoking black object in his gloved hand. A gloved hand suddenly manifests swirling dark energy, startling its owner. Staring at his smoking, burned glove, the protagonist realizes something unusual is happening as zombie-like creatures close in behind him. A massive swarm of zombies charges forward, attacking relentlessly. A brutal punch smashes into a man's face, causing blood to spray as he reels from the blow. Surrounded by swirling energy, he unleashes a powerful, desperate roar. A black stone crashes to the ground, marking the collection of the 14th evil black stone. He realizes that only the zombies surrounded by black energy possess the stones. A system message announces that mana sensitivity has reached its peak. A hidden skill called Magic Skin is unlocked as a glowing notification appears. A digital interface displays the effects of the Magic Skin skill, detailing its ability to analyze the shape and attributes of a target's mana. The protagonist discovers a hidden skill and considers activating it immediately. A surge of magical energy erupts as a detection spell is activated. A character's eyes glow as he unlocks a new visual ability and excitedly announces that he can see it. A glowing woman unleashes a furious roar at the advancing zombie-like figures. Youngmin surges forward with electrified arms, ready to unleash a powerful attack. Youngmin lands a powerful punch, sending his opponent staggering backward. He charges forward and smashes through the group of enemies, focusing only on his target. Youngmin defeats several zombies in rapid succession and collects more evil black stones. A digital notification announces that an achievement has been unlocked. A game notification acknowledges extraordinary luck for consecutively killing 31 select monsters carrying quest items. A digital notification reveals new item bonuses and increased stats. Startled, the protagonist quickly looks up in response to an unexpected event. A lone figure approaches the dark mountain as red energy erupts from its peak. Startled, he suddenly notices something unexpected off-panel. A dark, sinister mountain emerges between jagged cliffs as red light and swirling mist create an ominous atmosphere. Surrounded by zombies, the protagonist recoils as a strange, glowing energy materializes from a hand. The protagonist boldly confronts the hostile group, ready to challenge whatever threat they pose. He urgently commands the immediate shutdown of the magic scan. Sinister trees emerge from the dense fog, revealing a haunted forest. Youngmin stops in the misty forest, startled by an unexpected discovery. A hidden dungeon entrance appears, displaying a warning about its high level and unknown rewards. A character examines a fiery portal entwined in tree roots while inspecting a glowing digital screen. A character eagerly recognizes the opportunity for a first discovery bonus upon finding an unexplored dungeon. The protagonist steps through the crackling portal into the hidden disease dungeon. As the first to discover the dungeon, the explorer triggers bonus rewards and climbs a shadowy, cobweb-filled staircase. Inside a vast cave, an ancient ruined temple is revealed. Youngmin enters the vast, ruined stone structure and is struck by its immense size. The protagonist's eyes widen in shock as he suddenly realizes something unexpected. 3 heavily wounded, monstrous creatures appear in the ruined hallway, threatening the viewer. A battered shark creature snarls menacingly in close-up, preparing to confront its target. 3 monstrous enemies rush forward with weapons, launching a fierce attack on the human target. A determined figure charges forward with explosive speed and power. Youngmin leaps forward, dodging a barrage of incoming spears. A bystander shouts a warning as the protagonist spins recklessly through the air. Youngmin slams his fist into the ground, unleashing a surge of energy that cracks the surface. A powerful impact shatters the ground and sends debris flying in all directions. 2 combatants exchange rapid attacks as debris scatters from their intense battle. Youngmin delivers a powerful blow to the monstrous enemy in close combat. A powerful kick sends the blue monster crashing through the wall amid flying debris. A fast-moving projectile hurtles toward his face, and he narrowly dodges it. A powerful blow from a large dark weapon sends Youngmin flying backward. A powerful impact slams into the ground, sending debris flying. Youngmin drives his fist into his opponent's abdomen, forcing a violent cough. A monstrous creature, gravely wounded and bleeding, struggles to stay upright while clutching its staff. The monstrous shark-like creature charges forward in a frenzy, its jaws wide and eyes glowing with rage. Seizing the opportunity, Youngmin grapples the humanoid shark with all his strength. A monstrous figure, badly wounded and clutching a staff, recoils in shock. A monstrous figure hurls a glowing magical spear in a sudden, intense attack. A monstrous figure prepares a final attack, raising a glowing trident as energy swirls around. Youngmin struggles desperately to hold back the monstrous creature as his strength begins to fail. The shark-headed creature tightens its grip, snarling in frustration as its attack fails to finish its opponent. The lizard-like figure channels a surge of magical energy through the glowing spear, preparing to strike. A monstrous figure unleashes a powerful magical attack, signaling the end of the battle. Youngmin reacts in shock as he realizes someone is sacrificing their ally. A massive energy blast erupts as one figure attacks while another desperately tries to intervene. He struggles to lift his head, wincing from the pain after the blow. A monstrous figure is shot through the chest, leaving a smoking bullet wound. Youngmin looks up in shock as he reacts to something unexpected. The protagonist lands a decisive blow, sending the shark-headed monster flying backward. The creature recoils in disbelief as its attack with the spear of the Sea King fails. Glowing with energy, the protagonist activates mana skin to shield himself and prepares to counterattack. A powerful punch sends an enemy crashing through a concrete wall. A level-up notification appears, signaling progress to the next stage. The protagonist kneels silently beside the defeated creature in the ruins. A gloved hand carefully examines the corpse's bite wounds, questioning if a zombie attack occurred. A digital notification appears, warning of exposure to the plague. A system message announces that the Ring of Calamity grants immunity to the effect. Protected by the Ring of Calamity, the character advances confidently, completely unaffected by the status effect. A cautious figure stands at the entrance of a dark stone corridor, wondering if a fragment of Calamity lies deeper inside. A secret chamber is revealed as mist swirls around an ancient doorway illuminated by flickering braziers. Youngmin spots the boss room and prepares to move forward. A towering figure grips a massive trident and confronts the intruder in the grand throne room. A furious undead king confronts his tormentor, demanding answers. He ponders the entity's dying words and their deep resentment toward humans. A wrathful figure condemns someone for confining them in pain. A massive blue energy blast surges forward, unleashed in a furious attack. A character unleashes a devastating spear attack surrounded by surging energy. A female attacker bursts forward and smashes the floor as her powerful strike hits another figure. Youngmin swiftly dodges a powerful blue energy attack from the boss amidst the ruins. A massive spear of water bursts forth, unleashed in a powerful magical attack. Youngmin suddenly senses danger and reacts with alarm. A monstrous creature blasts Youngmin with a surge of energy, sending him crashing backward through the collapsing building. A devastating blue energy slash rips through the air, sending debris flying. Under relentless pressure, the character skids to a stop after narrowly dodging another attack. A wounded man launches a furious magical attack at his opponent. A torrent of water crashes toward the protagonist as he braces himself against the oncoming force. Youngmin dashes forward as the animal-eared figure conjures water with a staff. The old man, shocked by the outcome, watches as the young man walks away after dodging all three strikes of the spear of the sea god. A character demands to know why an apparent opportunity to counterattack was missed. A character charges forward across the cracked ground, each step leaving deep impact marks. He unleashes a surge of blue lightning energy, revealing his true objective. After a difficult battle, Youngmin steadies himself and begins absorbing the surrounding mana. A gloved hand crackles with lightning as a special skill is activated. Youngmin charges forward, crackling with energy, ready to attack in the ruined landscape. The wounded ruler shouts angrily, demanding respect as the Mare King. A furious character unleashes a devastating, magical attack with a glowing staff, surrounded by crackling energy and swirling water. A devastating, energy-charged attack is unleashed with lethal intent. The character is hurled backward through the air by the force of the attack. Youngmin is hurled backward and crashes into a stone structure. A powerful impact smashes through the building wall, scattering debris everywhere. Youngmin launches a fierce, lightning-charged punch straight ahead. The punch lands squarely on the monstrous figure, sending a surge of electricity through its body. An older man with a bloodied face doubles over, coughing up blood from a critical injury. A wounded man clutches his side and glares furiously at his opponent, cursing through the pain. A powerful elder clutches his chest in alarm as he is suddenly overwhelmed by sinister dark energy. A furious figure confronts the human, demanding to know what was done to his body. Youngmin taunts his opponent and urges the fight to continue, radiating confidence. An enraged adversary launches a powerful, electrified attack at their opponent. A powerful explosion erupts, scattering debris and flames across the ground. The ground suddenly shatters from a powerful impact, sending debris and dust into the air. Someone suddenly realizes that another person has vanished without a trace. Youngmin leaps down and delivers a powerful kick to a surprised enemy leader wielding a staff. A determined figure leaps past the stunned blue-skinned opponent, making a decisive escape. An enraged man unleashes a powerful burst of energy from his shoulders. Surrounded by lightning and swirling energy, the protagonist spirals through the vortex, pushing forward with urgency. The protagonist strikes the opponent with a lightning-charged punch, unleashing a powerful attack. Stone pillars burst from the ground, scattering debris everywhere. The protagonist lunges forward with sudden force, catching the enemy off guard. A powerful surge of blue electricity strikes the protagonist, knocking him back. A towering figure slams a hand into the ground, sending debris flying from the force. Youngmin dives down and unleashes a powerful finishing attack on his opponent. A massive energy strike crashes down on the white-haired man as he braces for impact. A powerful figure kneels in defeat, surrounded by a glowing mist within a crater. An older man struggles to endure a surge of intense pain. Youngmin checks on someone's condition as mysterious purple energy swirls nearby. A battered man rises from the debris, sarcastically questioning his opponent after enduring a brutal beating. Mystical energy flows as one character uses elemental healing and the ring of disaster to cure another's disease. Two uneasy creatures hide behind a pillar, suspecting that their captors are allied with the disaster. The protagonist, uncertain about the disaster followers' intentions, is helped up by a group of sea creatures and recognizes they are not enemies. Youngmin explains that the earlier fight was a misunderstanding and insists he wants to help, not harm anyone. An authoritative figure admits to a misunderstanding and apologizes while a staff-bearing companion observes silently. The poison dissipates as the revitalized figure regains strength, expressing gratitude for the healing. A desperate man begs for his people to be healed. Youngmin agrees enthusiastically, displaying confident excitement. A reptilian figure and two monster-like allies express relief as healing begins. A confident healer prepares to activate his power, warning the group that it may sting. Three anxious sea creatures freeze in place as they react to an unexpected situation. A character screams in agony as violent energy and lightning slam into them amid chaos. The poison dissipates from the fish-like humanoid, bringing sudden relief and surprise. He wonders aloud why the merpeople are in such a dire condition. A stern man in a regal cape reveals that they were deceived by humans and captured. Youngmin explains that they were unable to use their powers effectively because they had already reached land. A furious man reveals that after being injected with evil energy, weakened villagers were thrown to forest monsters by their enemies. He realizes the forest zombies were created by kidnapping people, but the purpose behind this remains unclear. Youngmin recoils in shock as he realizes the true method behind the Black Stone's creation. The aquatic group urgently pleads for rescue and safe passage back to the sea before the villains return in 2 days. A system quest window appears, assigning the task of safely leading the merpeople back to the sea. Despite his suspicions about the rewards, the protagonist resolves to help and refuses to ignore the situation. He quickly decides to use the nearby river as a faster escape route to the sea. A blue-skinned figure evaluates the aquatic abilities of a hooded companion inside an ancient structure. Youngmin stands before the stone steps and signals the group to follow him carefully. A colossal sphere of fire and lightning collides with the barrier, shattering its surface. The group moves deeper into the misty cave, led by the determined protagonist and followed by a blue-skinned elder with a trident and several unidentified figures. A strange green mist engulfs the distant mountains. The scene shifts to a tranquil landscape of cliffs and greenery under a clear sky. Youngmin announces their arrival at the Queshes River, signaling the next stage of their journey. A calm stream flows quietly beside a sunlit rocky cliff. 3 startled monsters look up in shock. Several aquatic creatures leap excitedly toward the water. Several figures plunge into the water, escaping danger and feeling immense relief. A grateful elder from the merpeople clasps hands with the protagonist, expressing heartfelt thanks for the favor. A formidable figure leaps down the cliff, preparing to launch an attack. A massive impact sends water spraying high into the air. The protagonist surveys the battlefield from a high vantage point, assessing the levels of multiple Mer King Acquirer enemies. Youngmin stands outside, visibly frustrated as he demands to know why the rewards have not appeared. He pauses and looks back, trying to figure out if something has gone wrong. A massive blue energy surge erupts behind Youngmin, leaving him stunned. A colossal sea king emerges, commanding powerful tidal waves. He whips his head around in shock, instantly reacting to the sudden threat.